194 straight days of Clippers talk for you guys. Welcome in. I'm Adam Osland. Coming up, we're looking for some post-game practice audio, I should say, or some post-practice audio and an update on Nico Batum. And we'll take your phone calls at 877-520-1150. But joining the show right now, back by popular demand, is the man, Dime Dropper Darian Vaziri from Locked On Clippers and the Dime Dropper YouTube. Dime, thanks for doing this here on the Clippers Talk side.
Oh man, always a pleasure, Adam, and it's a great time. It's a great time to be doing this. I see people in the chat already. I mean, what's better than being in the playoffs as a Clipper fan?
We're going to get into the series and the ins and outs and the matchups and all that, but I want to start with kind of putting a bow on what this Clippers season meant to you. And I want to ask you this. What were you most right about with this team, and what were you most wrong about with this team going back to the preseason?
Most wrong about was how successful we'd be without Kawhi. And that Kawhi would, I don't want to speak too soon, but be healthy going into the playoffs. I'm not going to say that I was like take the full L until Kawhi plays an entire series, because that's what I was the most skeptical on. Because we saw in 2023, he went into the playoffs, played amazing versus the Phoenix Suns in those first two games. And then we didn't, because it felt like we were finally going to see it in front of the fans, in front of the full sold out fans, of course. And then what I was most right about, I'd say, was that, I guess, weirdly, I would say that James Harden wasn't washed. I mean, I think I saw that was not a really popular take amongst Clipper fans at all, or even that many big talking heads that I could think of. But I saw some tweets about it from some big accounts saying that Harden's kind of done. But that was a kind of surprising take considering what he'd just done in the postseason. I think his series is a little exaggerated, but he had two really good games that won us those two games. And I'd say the Harden stuff. And then, I was going to say Zoo, Adam, because you and I had been pounding that drum for a while, but I wasn't fully convinced that the coaching staff was going to lean into it, because it felt like, weirdly, we started looking at Zoom more when Kawhi came back. It felt like his best stretch of the season was when Kawhi came back. So what you'd figure before Kawhi comes back is when you're going to be force feeding him. Felt like first half of the season, we're complaining more about Zoo touches. So I'd say Harden being Harden and being a great floor raiser, I'd say I was the most right about. I wasn't right about a lot. I said that we'd have a good defensive identity, but okay, you can look at that with the personnel. I don't think I was right about a lot. I was wrong about a lot more, and it's great to be wrong about so much when it comes to this. And as far as what the season meant, I mean, dude, first season at Intuit Dome, I think that's what it was all about. We said that if we could host a playoff game or playoff games in this building the first year, given everything that happened with Paul George leaving and the state of the franchise and all that, it would be a success. So by definition, it's been a grand success. One of the 750-win seasons in Clipper history. I mean, that's insane. And it's been really fun throughout the season. I'm looking at this comment section, man, and I see people that I've had on my own videos that I recognize from my own videos throughout the season. It's been, Alex, Co. I've seen so many fans come up to me this year more than ever before. And I don't know, it feels like Intuit Dome has really been like a wonderland for Clipper fans. Like, you essentially, the concentration of Clipper fans versus casuals or versus Laker fans watching a game is so much different than at Staples Center. In the beginning, it took a while for people to, get their routines down, what parking structure they want to be in, all that kind of stuff. But the greatest needle mover, Adam, has nothing to do with parking, has nothing to do with anything. It's who's on the floor. And Kawhi Leonard, in the years that he's been healthy for the Clippers, has shown that he is the biggest needle mover with tickets in this last 5-6 years of Clipper basketball. When he's healthy for consistent stretches, we sell out consistently. And I just cannot wait to see what the playoffs holds. Everybody, you are in anywhere near Southern California, you better go to one of these games. It is worth the money. Honestly, Steve Ballmer's made it so affordable that we should not be using that as an excuse. Of course, I understand if you can't attend playoff games, they're not cheap, but compared to other teams, it's a bargain. Make it happen. It's so worth it. It's an experience of a lifetime. We need all hands on deck. I want to shut the nation down, except Adam Silver's already trying to do that, putting us on NBA TV, but whatever.
We'll get to that. But from an enjoyability aspect, where does this Clippers season rank for you versus the 2018-2019 team, Shea's rookie year, or going back to some of the Lob City years? How does this season stack up versus those years?
I would probably be an unpopular opinion with this one. I the first 3 years of Lob City, I'd say I enjoyed more than this season. I just liked Chris Paul and Blake Griffin so much. You know what I mean? I didn't have that. You already know I'm still, even as great as James Harden is, I'm still not a fan of the heliocentric or, that one guy dominating the ball like that, even though we needed it and the roster was built like this. It's not my favorite style to watch, and that matters for me. 2018-19, I enjoyed more. It was just because also the Lakers didn't make the playoffs. That was really funny. But I would say I enjoyed it more than the last two Lob City years, definitely more than 2017-18. And are we counting the 2021 regular season? Because I'd say I enjoyed this regular season more. Yeah, okay. So I'd say I enjoyed this regular season. I honestly, which regular season I kind of enjoyed a lot, Adam, was 2021-22. That was really enjoyable. But I would say this is my favorite regular season of the last 6 years, ever since 2018-19. So in the top 10, probably not in the top 5, but it's also because I was so down going into the season that I almost like desensitized myself from feeling anything. You know what I mean? I was like kind of on I'm covering the team. I'm not seeing it as even though I go to the games and cheer for the team, but the fandom of it, was really hurting on the inside. So like my day hasn't been made or day by a Clipper win or loss in like a year or so. So it's been a minute. But I think maybe I'm getting pulled back in. If I see Kawhi healthy in the playoffs, I'm getting pulled back in. So it gets dangerous there.
What game or moment or victory, maybe it was an Intuit Dome that you were at this season, that you'll always look back fondly upon?
Wow. I think for the team, it would be Harden's 50-point game. That was actually I've been to a lot of basketball games in my life, but that was surprisingly the highest scoring game of any game I've ever been to was James Harden 50 points. So that was memorable, but I would say the game against the Lakers, which was the first game back for me after like I'd lost everything, and just being back at Intuit Dome with like I had no Clipper jerseys to choose from. Like that was such a weird experience for me. And, the people were so nice and respectful, and, the wall like turned around and got like hyped for me, started cheering for me when I walked in the wall. That was really a crazy moment for me. So I think, and Brian came up to me after the game, interrupted post-game interviews. And of course we'll take a glad interruption from Brian. So I would say that was the most memorable because I missed the Cavs game, which looked electric. I missed the Kawhi game, winner game, unfortunately. Yeah, I see a comment about that. I was unfortunately not there. So I would say the Laker game is one I'm always going to remember. But even though we lost, by far, to me, my favorite game was the first night. I mean, that was just like one of the most surreal sporting experiences of my entire life. So it can't be nothing. I know we lost and I hate Phoenix, but nothing beats opening night because that one game didn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. Even more so because the Suns missed the play-in, but we're never that opening night result's not going to matter, but opening up this building is everything.
Yeah, that was special. I think the loudest game this season at Intuit Dome probably was the Cavs game. It was just that felt like a playoff game to me. Obviously, the Kawhi buzzer beater against the Kings by the end of that game, it was also rowdy, but consistently for all 4 quarters, the energy in the building, the intensity for that Cavs game was something special.
Even
It
more
was
than opening
great.
night?
Opening night was great too, but I don't, maybe it's recency bias because the Cavs game and there were more expectations there and it just felt like a measuring stick contest. You're getting closer to the playoffs. You want to see how you stack up, It was that type of environment there, but it was a great first year at Intuit Dome, and there's no complaints. Steve Ballmer built this basketball amusement park or palace, however you want to put it. There's nothing else like it. And just having our own home for once and having it, getting off to this rousing success this season with things going so well and the Clippers winning 50 games. Like, did you have a number that you put on the Clippers winning coming into this season where you're like, okay, they'll be over the 37.5 over under, but did you have them at 45 or anything?
Definitely not, but I also didn't have a number because I feel like the Clippers might have been the hardest team to predict for anyone, because of Kawhi.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a number, honestly. But I didn't think I thought we would be ideally in the 40s, not 50 wins. And not under 40, to be honest with you, unless we had major injuries.
I didn't put a number on it, but I did say on the high end they'll finish 6th, on the low end they'll finish 10th.
I
So
remember
they
that.
exceeded my expectations there. And to be honest, if I knew Kawhi was only playing 37 games, I probably would have said on the high end they're going to finish 8th at best. So to finish 5th is just remarkable and speaks of the growth of this team. We're both big Zoo guys. He's had an amazing year. I have gotten a little bit contentious or indignant when I think about people talking about Ivica Zubac for most improved player, Darian, because to me, this has been in him for a while. They just finally tapped into it. I don't think all of a sudden he turned 28 and became a better player. I don't think he trained differently this offseason. I think he just got more touches and got the basketball. How do you feel about that? Because when I hear most improved player, I almost get like offended. Like, this is an injustice. Ivica Zubac has been good for a long time. We've seen the flashes, and they just never went to him enough. That's how I feel about it. What say you?
I understand where you're coming from. Let me ask you this before I answer. Who's your most improved player? Because I feel like that award has gotten really strange lately where we're giving it like, did Ja Morant win one year?
I think he did.
That's absurd. And like Brandon Ingram won one year over Bam Adebayo. Like that was when Bam Adebayo all of a sudden came in after an offseason, dribbling up the ball and playing point center. And Brandon Ingram had some good run with the Lakers in 2019 before the blood clots. And he just got an extended role after a trade. And then he won most improved. I just think that award has gotten ridiculous. But let me ask you who you think it is.
People aren't going to like this, but I might say Austin Reeves.
But see, I feel like you don't think, I mean, he got an opportunity last year. No, how much better do you think he's gotten? I mean, he's taken a leap for sure.
You know what I've been saying? I'd take him over Booker right now.
Booker did have a rough season, but I don't know. I'm not ready for that yet. I'll just say that, don't you think Austin Reeves' growth has been incremental and as a young player the way, I mean, Zubac, here's what I'll say to your Zubac thing. Yes, I feel like Zoo's always had it in him to be given the ball more and to get more touches in the post. But every single year, in my opinion, with Zoo, since we've had him, he has improved. He has consistently progressed on his game. His touch around the basket. I mean, I know there's an element of James Harden being his pick and roll partner, giving him some of the easiest looks he's ever had. But Adam, his touch over the years, it's gone to the point where he just does not miss in the key anymore. Like there is an improvement there
look,
for me.
Last year, he was the best center from 5 to 9 feet out. He shot 64% there. He was better than Jokic.
Is he? How much better is his percentage than? Is his better percentage in that area better now, or is it the same?
No, it's actually down from last season.
Okay. Is there anywhere else that he's better this year? Because it seems like he's shooting better, but maybe that's just
he might be better within 5 feet of the rim shooting percentage wise. I just think the left hand has gotten better.
The left hand is drastic. Where he is not getting pushed out further from 10 feet anymore. I mean, he's catching the ball on the block so frequently.
But that's my point, Darian. What if he was just getting the ball more often when he was 25? Like, I think
his progression might have been faster.
He could have developed just the way he did this season and progressed just the way he did this year if he was getting the same amount of touches then. I don't think it's an age thing or maturity thing. I think it's an opportunity thing.
I think it's both is all I'm saying. It's that, there is a level of only getting better by actually doing it. Like this is the first season where he's consistently had to deal with double teams. And that was the biggest resistance to a lot of throwing the ball to Zoo was, okay, what if the team's double? Is he going to be able to pass out of it? And the fact that we're talking about he had a triple-double, it feels like the passing out of the short roll and passing out of the low post, it's just that I can see that with time, he has gotten so much better. I do agree with the opportunity stuff. And I do agree that if we had started feeding him earlier, maybe a couple of years ago, maybe we would have seen him be at this level sooner. But I think he's improved in every facet, honestly. And remember, we used to have those games where we'd say Zoo looked like a dud, like he had no confidence, like he was just moping around out there. There have been so few of those games. It honestly feels like you cannot close without him. You cannot go long stretches without him. And I think that's
not
the roster, but I think his confidence. I think the biggest thing is his confidence. Like, yeah, I see. So there's a comment right now. His body language is better. It's
but that's because he's getting the ball consistently.
I agree, but I do think. I mean, he didn't have a left hand jump hook 2 years ago. Can we agree on that?
Yeah,
he didn't have it. Go ahead.
Like I have seen this guy 3 years ago get 34 in Denver against Nikola Jokic, where they had a battle, a war. This was 3 years ago. It's not some fluke that he had that high level of skill for one game. The thing is, he'd have games like this, the 30-29 game, and they just go away from him the very next contest. Like, just look at the amount of shots he'd get up the next game. It's wild to me.
I'm not denying that, but I don't. That has nothing to do with him having a left hand now. I mean, right?
I think he's had it. I remember looking at old Lakers footage, and I'm like, he's got way more in his bag than he's showing with us right now.
They used to. I just remember seeing when I would be at games, they used to sit on his left shoulder, and he would get travels and lose his balance. Now he's like going to it so easily. I would love to see. I mean, I don't know if there's synergy or something that has this. You know, how many left hand jump hooks he's taken this season over compared to like previous years, but it just feels like his touch has improved and his offense is passing out of the low post, the short roll, everything. And yeah, you're right. A lot of it is opportunity. So I think he has improved, but the opportunity has been the reason why we're seeing that improvement. But he definitely, I think, has gotten better every year. I do think there's a level of him putting in the work that has to be accounted for as well.
My statement just was always, and I've been saying this for 3 years, there is an easier way, there's an easier path to victory, and it's playing through Ivica Zubac more. And I think he's been hiding in plain sight. I think there was untapped potential because they weren't giving him the reps to progress in these areas. And it would have happened when he was younger if he just got the opportunities. I get why. The team was stacked. You're playing with Paul. You're playing with James the last year and a half, Kawhi, Russ. It's difficult, but I do think they could have made life easier on themselves if they just went to Ivica Zubac earlier in his career more. Especially, I mean, we're talking about a guy who the defense to me, we're just talking about offense right now. Everybody's all of a sudden like, oh, Zeus should be up for Defensive Player of the Year. Based on what is he better at defensively? He's been this good. I can go back to 2019 and look at defensive field goal percentage within 6 feet, and he was better than Gobert that year. He has been good at the rim forever. Like, I don't know if he's gotten drastically better defensively. I think the players around him got better, so they have a better defensive rating. So people are like, oh, well, Zoo's the best defender on the team, and look at their defensive rating. It's like, well, they have better opponent attack guys now. That's how I look at it.
I think defensively, I agree more so that it's been more about the personnel around him. But I think it's been small improvements protecting the rim. But you're right. The moment we got him, he showed that he was a better rim protector than Gortat and that it was a big difference. But I do think the experience, understanding, NBA schemes and communication and all that kind of stuff, like playing more years makes you a better defender in that respect. And I do think he's improved just a little bit. And there's been less moments where he's been caught in space or taken advantage of in pick and roll. A lot of that is because of the point of attack. But overall, I do think there is a level of him getting more used to playing NBA competition, NBA basketball. Like, this is where he is getting to his prime, his prime ages. So,
okay.
But I am in agreement that the opportunity is more. But I don't know. The most improved, I don't know who to vote for, because I do think Zoo has improved. But a lot of it is the opportunity. Who's drastically improved so much?
No, you know who won last year? Could you tell me who won last year? Off top.
Who? Most improved? Yeah. It's getting mixed up with me so much the last couple of years.
I couldn't tell you either. I had to look this up because, and that kind of tells you how important is it if we can't even remember the last guy who won it from just last season. Like, it's not the biggest deal, and it's been warped with how guys vote. It was Tyrese Maxey.
Oh yeah. See, I mean, like, that's I don't agree with that. I mean, he just kept getting better like a young player does.
Yeah. He was very talented, and he got better, and he got to that level that people thought he could get to, and they called him most improved. So I don't know how you vote on this thing either. I just think I'd throw Austin Reeves' name out there because he's one guy who I feel like he's at a point now where if he's on a worse team, I think he could average 25 points per game. I honestly think that.
Yeah, I think he probably could. I mean,
and that's impressive.
Do you think he could have looked this unstoppable in years prior? Because the way he's looked this year has been like not just good in spurts, but just unstoppable. I just think a lot of that is the skill and confidence that he's
I
continued to
mean,
improve on.
they play through him at times with Luka and LeBron out there at the end of games. I've seen this, and I've seen him with LeBron out there, without LeBron out there,
Oh,
with
my
Luka
bad. I
out
was talking
there.
about my bad. I was talking about Zoo, not Reeves.
Oh, okay.
My
Sorry.
bad.
I'm getting too fixated on the Lakers, but
I was saying, do you think he's been unstoppable? I don't, because I've always said that Zoo, is a good, efficient post scorer, but this year when I've been watching games, it's felt like he's unstoppable, and I'm just wondering, even with the opportunity, could he have been like this, passing out of the double teams and stuff like that? But you are, again, it goes back to, you are right that maybe the development could have been sped up if we had gone to this earlier, but I don't know. I think maybe this is also just the sweet spot age, 20, what is he, 27?
it's 28 now,
28?
but just turned 28. We can move the things forward, though. Let's talk about Zoo versus Jokic in this series now as we start to preview. This game 1 Saturday, 12:30 start Pacific time. Clippers in Denver taking on the Nuggets. From what you've seen in the 4 matchups this season, is there anything you can take away that translates to the playoff series? Because we had different guys in and out, and they never saw Kawhi.
Yeah, there are some things I think. James Harden, we know that he does great things against Jokic. What is it, 16-6 record against him? I know that there's a lot of context left out of that. You're talking about multiple years there, but he is a pick and roll maestro. Jokic's defensive weakness is guarding in space. I haven't been able to watch a Nuggets game since the Lakers beat him up in February, but from everything I've heard, Jokic has been taken advantage of in space defensively and been not great defensively towards the end of this season. The Nuggets finished 21st in defensive rating this year. It's pretty bad. And we are a much better offensive team than what our offensive rating is because of Kawhi coming back. So the James Harden stuff I think is real. If the Nuggets are going to allow MPJ and Jamal Murray to guard James Harden, there are going to be some problems. There are going to be some problems because, and I think it's very key for James Harden to, I mean, the step back three is going to be big, but I don't want him to live or die with that now that he's not the number one scoring option on a team anymore. I want him to get 2 feet in the paint consistently, which he has been doing a great job of since that 50-point game and majority of the season. But we got to take advantage of those matchups. Kawhi Leonard getting Jamal Murray switched on to him. Like, there's got to be a lot of matchup hunting and then putting Jokic in pick and roll. I think with James Harden, that's what we can translate. And also another thing that translates is Zoo being a good guy to guard Jokic. I mean, nobody can guard Jokic truly one-on-one, but Zoo is a good guy for that. So I think those things can translate. I also think we have good guys for Jamal Murray and Chris Dunn and Derek Jones. And by the way, I see one of the comments about Dime's a pessimist. Listen, I was only a pessimist in this era of Clipper basketball. The people that only know me from this era of Clipper basketball, so essentially since I started my platform, know me as a pessimist. But if you had known me during Lob City, I was the most optimistic fool around. Like, I used to get made fun of because of how much of a optimist I was about the Clippers. So, like, life just changes you. But if, again, do I sound pessimistic right now? Like, I think mine is, I just go off the basketball I see, and people just can't handle the freaking truth that we were not good enough to win championships or compete really in the past. But we are actually good right now. And I see it with my eye test, Adam.
I know, because you said, bring me Denver. Give me Denver.
We might still lose, but like, I'm never that confident. And I really think I'm a defense first guy. And Paul George and Kawhi Leonard team, the 2-1-3 era, even in 2021, they just didn't give me that defensive assurance that I can believe in, that they can really lock down. So because you had those two guys as like your elite wings, but they're not guarding the best players because they're your offensive guys. And we didn't have a Drew Holiday or a Derek White the way the Celtics have surrounded the Jays with. We had Pat Beverly. And I just thought Pat Beverly, like, we all kind of knew that, like, 2021 was a good chance for us. But I still think the Giannis matchup would have been interesting. Like, what will we have? Would put Kawhi on him the entire series? Nico, Marcus. It would have still been a kind of maybe Zoo. It would have been an interesting series. But I still think we beat the Suns for sure that year.
Okay. How are they going to guard Jokic? Are they going to give him the Luka Doncic treatment where You just say, if Jokic beats us by getting 50 points, but we don't let him get to 12 assists, we'll live with that. We'll just play him one-on-one with Big Zoo.
I kind of want to ask your opinion on that right now. What do you think we're going to do? Because the Nuggets have been one of the best three-point shooting teams in the league, but they don't shoot a lot of them. I feel like with Peyton Watson, Russ, Aaron Gordon, there'll be a hesitancy to take those threes.
Well, there shouldn't be from Aaron Gordon. He
They
shot
shouldn't. He's shooting great.
44%.
Right.
Now, I'm trying to think because he only played like 50 games this season. Was it really on high volume?
I don't know.
Like, if he has a bad game one, shooting-wise, is he going to regress and go right back to where he's typically been, around 35% from the outside the past few years? Or is 44% from Aaron Gordon real? Because if he shoots that hot in the series, that's an X factor to me. If he's that good from the outside, if that actually carries over into the playoffs. But I would just start with Big Zoo on him and see what happens and see what he can do. Because I think when you talk about this team defensively and the way they were built with that defensive identity, I want to see if everybody else just stays home and Ivica Zubac gets a chance to play Nikola Jokic one-on-one, how much can you slow down the fourth-ranked offense if nobody else is getting going? Because Chris Dunn against Jamal Murray feels like a perfect matchup for him. Now, it could depend on how they call it and how much physicality the Clippers are able to get away with. But I love the Clippers matchups defensively in this series. I do. But it all starts with Jokic. And I think if he's bringing Zoo out to deep water on the perimeter, that's what worries me. If he's passing more on the high post or above the break, that's what worries me. But they have the guys that can hang with some of these guys cutting to the basket for the Denver Nuggets. They do on those feeds from Jokic now. I would not double. Now, what I might do, and I've said this all season long, I think the ace in the hole for Coach Lue this entire time that he's been holding back is starting Nico at the 4. And I have said in certain playoff matchups, I think he might go to it. And I said Denver is one of those because then he can switch and help out on Jokic at times. He's their second best defender against them. A lot of this is dependent on his health. We're hoping to get an update after practice today. I would consider, and maybe it would be they get down 2-0 or get down or lose game 1. I would consider starting Nico at the 4 and downshifting and having Kawhi at the 3 and bringing Norm off the bench. That's
okay. I was going to ask that if you're bringing Norm off the bench, the only thing is that possible given, like, can we keep Norm on board? Is he willing to make these sacrifices after he can make the argument, dude, are you serious? We wouldn't even be here without what I did in the first half of the season. You better not be bringing me off the bench. It's going to mess with my rhythm, all that. Because in theory, I like what you're saying. I agree with you that Nico's going to be, it has been saved. The minutes with him have been really weird this season. I feel like purposely, you know what I'm saying? I feel like to give him this role, I think he's going to get 20 plus minutes in most of these games. I would hope so. I mean, he's still so great defensively. And as you said, in the moments that we've done well against Denver in the past, I think there was a game even in, I think it was 22 or 23 where we went, no, we didn't have Nico in 23. Oh, no, we did. We did. Yeah. Where he went small and he's like fronting Jokic and just making life tough for him. So we have seen some stuff from Nico against Jokic that works.
Here's my thing about Norm. First of all, he's not in a good rhythm right now.
He's not.
So it's not like you're taking him away from what's been working perfectly. And he's a guy who buys in. He wants to win above anything else. I think they could get Norm to come off the bench if need be. I'm not saying you start game 1 with Nico out there. But if things get tight in this series, I think that's the go-to move for Coach Lue.
Yeah, if things get tight, I absolutely agree. If we were to start with that unit, I mean, we have pretty good switching 1 through 4 personnel. As far as how we guard Jokic, you know what? I think I agree with you. First game, let's limit the other guys. Communication off the ball is going to be absolutely massive. When Jokic catches the ball in the high post and those kind of things, all the back screens and all the stuff that they run, we need to be talking, switching, all of that. There's just certain actions like the high pick and roll with Jokic and Murray or the pick and pop, whatever. Like there's just some actions with those guys that are so hard to defend. I have to really think about like what kind of approach we're going to use because, we've been a drop coverage team with Zoo all year long. And we do want to rely on our amazing point of attack defense to make life tough for Jamal Murray. But there are moments, and if I'm a Nuggets fan, this is the way I'm looking at it, where Jamal Murray starts making shots and there's just nothing you can do. This series is going to be huge for him. Huge for him, Jamal Murray. And I think we have the personnel to slow him down. But the pick and pops are the most dangerous because you need to stay attached to. I mean, would you stay attached to Jokic with the way he's shooting?
Oh, yeah. And I mean, his shooting's actually down from where he started the year. He was shooting 50% from three, I think, the first 2 months of the season, Jokic.
So you're going to have to, I mean, who are you letting shoot that three? Because if there's no Zoo in drop coverage and Zubac is staying attached to Jokic on that pick and pop, Jamal Murray's got a red carpet run to the rim. Aaron Gordon's probably going to be in the dunker spot. Probably can't leave him for a lob. You're going to have to live with Christian Brown threes. That's their most dangerous action to me is just that pick and pop with Murray and Jokic. Like, it's still really hard to think about guarding. You know what I mean?
Late in fourth quarters, I think they'll put Kawhi on Jamal because there was a game last season in December where the Clippers, for the first time in a long time, beat Denver when everybody was healthy. And at the end of that game, it was Big Zoo and Kawhi breaking up their pick and roll. They had better success than I had seen anybody defend that pick and roll. And it was very telling. And it was a big moment. It was one of the best victories of the season for the Clippers. And it was early on during that 26-5 run. And it kind of gave them a little bit more jet fuel to keep rolling after that.
We could just, yeah, I agree that in late in games, you'll probably see Kawhi get some more reps on ball against elite players. What makes our team fun is that we have essentially three like lockdown one-on-one defenders and Derek, Chris Dunn, and Kawhi. You want to try to go at any single one of them. And Nico is no slouch either. But I could see us still keeping Zoo in drop coverage to take away Murray's little like in-between game. And then just the second he passes out to Jokic on that pick and pop, we just rotate, which is essentially like a switch. That'll be a little risky, but I'm just thinking about all that kind of stuff. One thing that's an underrated talking point, Adam, too, is like we need to make Jokic work defensively in two ways. One, why not make him guard Zoo and not like try to guard without fouling? Like, because if Jokic gets in any sort of foul trouble, then we should be smooth sailing in a lot of these games. If Russell Westbrook's open at the 3-point line and Jokic has the ball in the post, are you staying home? Are you sending his guy?
I'm leaving. What kind of question is that?
Okay. Just making sure.
Like, I know there's probably going to be a game where Russ hits 3 or 4 3-pointers and he's getting amped up and going nuts. But I think you just have to play the odds and just let him to get those shots and treat him like they're going to probably treat Chris Dunn.
Yeah. And what about Peyton Watson? Same kind of treatment?
Yeah, I do think that's a wrinkle from them. And I was listening to Locked On Denver Nuggets earlier, and they believe this is not a series for Michael Porter Jr. because they just don't have enough defenders to guard the Clippers, and they could see Watson getting a start if things start going south for Denver Nuggets early on in the series. He could be the guy. He could be their Batum, basically. If things are going bad, we're going to start him over MPJ.
And he will help their defense tremendously, I would think, but offensively, I don't know. That'll be a hit for them. Another guy that we can probably sag off of or double off of.
Here, how about this? We just got this from Joey Lynn. We bring you good news, Clipper Nation.
Nico Batum.
Nico Batum went through the whole Clippers practice today. The team scrimmaged.
There we go.
Good to go. We got our secret weapon in this series and the second best guy to guard Nikola Jokic. That's kind of everything.
Can we guard Jokic with Zubac out of the game? Would you ever play a small ball line with Nico, Kawhi, and let's say Ben Simmons or something with Zubac out the game? Can we afford to do that in this series?
I know Coach Lue is going to try it at some point.
I know. You just know he is. And honestly, I don't think it's a terrible idea to try. But Nico and Kawhi, or a combination of like Nico, Ben, and Derek or Kawhi, I think at least 3 of them have to be out there if you're going to try this.
Well, darn, what they've been doing over the last month to start second quarters and fourth quarters has been Kawhi next to Nico, Bogey, Ben, and DJ. That
Yeah.
seems to be his go-to second unit plus Kawhi lineup. I think we're going to see that.
Yeah, and I like that lineup in terms of just. I mean, I don't have any like data on it off the top of my
It's been solid. It's not
head.
heavy
That
minutes, but it's been
it looks
solid for
decent.
them.
Ben Simmons looking at the rim is going to be important. He can limit his minutes in this series if he doesn't look at the rim. He needs to be doing that, and off of misses. I mean, I don't know how good the Nuggets transition defense has been this season, but for a team that's 21st in defensive rating, I would imagine their transition defense isn't great. So when we get stops, we got to push, and that's where Ben Simmons can come into play. What I was going to say is we got to make Jokic work in the post and in the pick and roll. And I talked about how it's going to be hard to guard the Murray Jokic pick and pop, and I still got to think about like different ways we can guard that, because that's always the dilemma, is how to guard that. What Minnesota did last year, they had Gobert. They had essentially a too big setup. We don't really have that. You know what I mean? They had Karl-Anthony Towns guarding Jokic and then Gobert guarding Aaron Gordon, like playing two at once. The best we could do is like essentially, if we wanted to try, have
Batum
Zoo
and
on
Zoo.
Aaron Gordon. What'd you say?
This is another reason I think they have Batum.
Batum on Jokic and then Zoo on Aaron Gordon playing in help. And then you have Chris Dunn guarding Jamal Murray to start the game. Harden will guard Christian Brown. And then what's his name on MPJ?
You remember when Batum
Kawhi
got
on
that?
MPJ?
You remember a couple of months ago, Batum got a start, and he got about 5 games straight where he was starting. And I think the Clippers were banged up. The first game was against Cat and the New York Knicks for Batum, and they put him out there for that reason. The Batum Zubats minutes, the two-man lineup data, and we're talking, I think, over 500 minutes at least, has been spectacular this year. As it should be.
So you're saying Nico on Jokic and put Zoo on Aaron Gordon and just sit him in help?
I would try it.
It's a lot of different avenues. It's very fascinating from a scheme perspective. But here's the question. How are they going to guard the Harden Zoo pick and roll? Because in previous years, when we played against Denver, Jokic always comes out to the level of the screen. It doesn't play drop. And that's honestly, it's going to be suicidal if they play drop with Jokic and their point of attack. All we need to do is James Harden say, hey, let's get Jamal Murray and MPJ on a switch. And he's going to ask Jokic to come up. And if they're in drop, he's going to walk in for floaters or that little pocket pass to Zoo. So I don't think they're going to play drop. I think they're going to have Jokic come out to the level of the screen again, which is also very risky because James Harden, the difference between James Harden and Paul George and Kawhi is that Kawhi and Paul George don't really release the ball fast enough a lot of the times when they see two on the ball, and they don't even they don't see the big picture of the floor the way Harden does, and they can't make the pass the way Harden does. So when Harden gets two on the ball, all we need to do is he gets rid of it, and then we get 4-on-3, and Zubats has been much better in those short roll situations. So that's when, and they're going to leave Chris Dunn wide open. That's what they're going to do. They're going to rotate. They're going to leave Chris Dunn wide open. So that's where Derrick Jones Jr., I think there's something. As much as I love Chris Dunn, Ty Lue and the coaching staff cannot be married to Chris Dunn over Derrick in this series, because that baseline dive from Derrick Jones when Zubats catches the ball in those short roll situations is just lethal. And Chris Dunn doesn't have that same vertical threat. They're going to leave him open for three. So if they do, we got to, it comes down to Zubats making plays. And to counter that, though, Adam, they're going to try to do Chris Dunn as the screener, I bet, a lot. And
yeah, Chris Dunn in the short roll was so good at the end of that game against Golden State.
Right. Exactly.
He's been good. And it's not just going to be determined on, how much he plays is not solely determined on if he's hitting 3-point shots. It's if he's making the right decisions also out of the short roll. And he has a nice floater. And if he's making those good passes, I think he stays on the court. Obviously that's beneficial for guarding Jamal.
I would bet every amount of money I have that in the first game to start the game, Jamal Murray will be guarding Chris Dunn. So if Harden wants to put Chris Dunn and have him as the screener, the intention will be to get Murray on the switch. And I think they're going to give him the switch in the beginning of the series. Maybe I'm naive, because that's one of the reasons I think, Adam, that they struggled a little bit last year with Minnesota is they were married to, because when they won the championship, Murray played good enough defense. But that wasn't the case last year. Although I think it was more their offense why they lost, but they had some moments where Murray was getting picked on. And, I have a lot of respect for Jamal Murray, but I hope his reputation takes a huge hit after this series, just because that's what's going to have to take.
Who do you think they put on Norman Powell to start?
Are we
Because that could be
assuming
a big advantage for the Clippers. Like, they're running out of good defenders immediately in that starting lineup for the Denver Nuggets.
you're saying they're not?
No,
They have
I'm
one.
saying they got to make some real decisions,
Yeah,
and Norman Powell could have a bad defender on him. Is
true.
Jamal going to be on him?
I think it's going to be, well, obviously the obvious is Jokic against Zoo, and then Brown against Harden, and then Gordon against Kawhi. So then it's between MPJ and Murray guarding Norman Chris Dunn.
One of those two guys has to guard Norm.
Because here's the thing, I would say MPJ is the better defender because of his size, but when it comes to like chasing Norm around, maybe Murray's better. I don't watch enough Nuggets games to know who's like a better screen navigator off ball. So they're gonna have to pick their poison, but that's an advantage for us. You know what I mean? That's the case for Norman Powell staying in the starting lineup. So for me, I would be disappointed if we lost this series, Adam, because of not just all these different things that seem like they're in our favor. The only point that I was like kind of stumped on was, man, how are we going to guard that pick and pop? You know what I mean? Hopefully there's enough non-shooters out there that we can expose, but this has been a good offense this season. So that's going to be tough. And Jokic in general is going to be tough, but we have a lot of advantages. And then I think the best thing about it is we're playing our best basketball of the season right now. Like, we're going into in my 20 years of fandom, I don't think we've gone into this playoffs with this kind of form. And again, I know I can't believe it's been 41 minutes, but we've beaten it like a dead horse for years. If this is the damn year that Kawhi can last a full series, I mean, man, like, we just need him to last one series and we can do something special here, Adam. We can win a series again. It's been 4 years since we won a series. Like, come on, let's feel it again.
Win a series and then get OKC in the next round and have a chance to. I mean, that would have all the storylines, of course, with the trade from 2019. But look, Norman Powell, if you remember the first game, it was the first weekend of the season this year.
Yeah.
That game in the fourth quarter where he destroyed Denver and he actually outshot Jokic in that fourth quarter. It was Jamal Murray on him who just got destroyed by Norman Powell. So I think that's a real thing. Quickly, your thoughts about Russell Westbrook and how much he's going to make this a Russ revenge type of series, and if that's beneficial or not for the Denver Nuggets.
I mean, no, it's the same reason why, believe it or not, despite my buy into Russ when we had him, it was part of the reason why I was resistant to getting Russ. I didn't want him because for every game he'll win, he might lose you too in the playoffs. You know what I mean? The regular season is a little different, but he's going to have at least one big game, I think, and it's going to be annoying. It's going to be rah-rah. When he guards Harden, the one thing I've noticed is he guards him pretty well, and he gets physical with him. It's kind of like with KD. He has this kind of vendetta. The main thing is I think he could really hurt Harden if he's on the floor, but we got to play him off the floor. With his offense, lack of offense and the turnovers. Look, if Russ is not making shots, making layups, he'll have some nice cuts to the basket. He'll get out in transition a little bit. But if we can keep him in the half court and force them to, kick it out to him and force him to make decisions with a set defense, they might have to go away from Russ, and that's where we're going to be great. And then as far as the Russ revenge, you know how it goes with Russ. He could sometimes press too hard, and that's when he can be his own worst enemy. I can't lie to you, Adam, as much as I love and respect Westbrook, him being on this Nuggets team makes me a little more confident we're going to win, just because I feel like a championship team, and this is also part of the reason why I had some skepticism to Harden at higher levels of the playoffs. Like, there's levels to it, but at higher levels is a lot of winning championships is just like not drastically doing things wrong, like not having 5 turnover games in a huge playoff game, or not having the costly momentum changing turnover. Like in Harden's case, it'll be like a step back 3. He doesn't get the call, doesn't get back on D, they dunk, and it's a whole momentum thing. Westbrook, terrible turnover, a bad foul like we saw against Minnesota, those kind of things. So with Westbrook, that percentage of this guy could make a game-changing mistake goes up. And so I think it'll be fun, but unfortunately, just like I said about Murray, I hope Westbrook's reputation unfortunately takes a dip after this series, because we got a series to win over here.
I've always said this about Russ, and I respect him too, but he's one of those guys that can be competitive to a fault.
Yeah.
Like, he's so amped up. Like you said, he's his own worst enemy. It works against him, actually. It works against the best interest of his team. And his playing style is chaotic. And that's the last thing you typically want in a playoff series. You want to be slower, you want to be methodical out there, precise. And that's just not who he is. But there are times where he absolutely gives you an energy boost that can flip a game.
Yeah.
And I expect him to have at least one big Russ moment that could really hurt the Clippers in this series. It just feels inevitable.
Yeah, absolutely. I was also going to say, if the Nuggets do win this series, I feel like Russ is going to play a big part in it. Somehow, I just don't think they have the depth to get away with winning a series like this without a good Russ series.
I think it would have to be what you mentioned earlier. Him being the guy, break glass in case of emergency, that starts because Michael Porter Jr. just can't guard out there, and Russ actually showing that he can guard James Harden well, and therefore they can put Christian Brown onto Norman Powell and then have AG guard Kawhi or something like that, you know?
We just need Kawhi Leonard to just get Aaron Gordon switched off of him and just dominate everyone. You know what I mean? That's we haven't even talked about that enough, but we need Kawhi to just get a screen, get Aaron Gordon off him. Let's just dominate everybody else and make them make decisions defensively. Because I mean, I'm not saying he can't score on Aaron Gordon, but it's a good body to guard him. But today's a switching era, so you just call for a switch. And the Nuggets, they get married to those switches with MPJ. The thing is, MPJ has like the size and length to guard Kawhi, but he shouldn't have like the defensive fundamentals. He's not great laterally. Like, Kawhi needs to expose MPJ. That's one thing that I think is something to watch. By the way, question for you before I leave. Do you know when the last time Kawhi Leonard walked off of a NBA playoff court as a loser in a series with a full crowd, like, you know, with an actual stadium? Walked off the court. Yeah,
2016.
Man, 2016 has been that long. So, like, I'm thinking about it, man, if Kawhi stays healthy and we lose first round, like, I've never seen Kawhi Leonard in like 10 years walk off a court like fully healthy as a loser. Like, it just doesn't happen.
What chance would you give him, final question, of ending up being the best player in this series and reestablishing himself as, oh, when Kawhi's healthy, he is still the best player in the league?
About 15%. It's not a knock on Kawhi. I just think Jokic is so good. And he's going to have to do more for his team. So the stats are going to be too gaudy for the narrative, but I'd say 85%. I think
the Clippers won.
I know no, it's about who wins and stuff, but I feel like even after we lost in 2020, I don't think people crowned Jokic over Kawhi just that quickly yet. Because it felt like we lost it more than they won it in some ways. But we also live in I also live in LA, so like we both live in LA. We hear the Laker fans. The whole narrative is about how we choked. But you know what I'm saying? But actually, that's what it was. It wasn't even nationwide. It was no different. So
no, they blew it.
And Jokic's numbers went to another level. I feel like his beginning of his prime was like actually the bubble and on. Because remember, in the season, he was averaging like 20 and 10. And then after that, he became MVP candidate every single year. There's going to be some moments, though, too, Adam, just as a basketball fan, where Jokic just does something ridiculous or has some ridiculous games. And we're just like, it's like something we're going to like tell people about 20, 30 years from now that we had battles against this guy. I just hope we get the win. But I have the utmost respect for that guy, man. He's a fantastic player.
My biggest worry, Darian, is late in games. I think it's factual to say that Jokic and Jamal Murray have had much more recent success with clutch shots late in games than Kawhi and James Harden have.
Yeah, it's not even questionable. It's absolutely facts, and it scares me to a degree, for sure.
All right, my friends. Well, where can everybody find you? I know you got another podcast to get to. You're doing big work this week, as always.
Yeah, man, playoffs is fun. Locked On Clippers for all things Clippers, Nuggets for the rest of the week. It's been amazing. And then Dime Dropper on YouTube. We're going to be live after every single night of playing basketball, of playoff basketball. This is when it's fun, Adam. I get to dip it in my bag and talk about every single team, which is great. Great game last night between Golden State and Memphis. And at games, I better see everybody. And you can be in the video. We need everybody in the videos. The videos have been amazing this year, the vlogs. So, yeah.
You know who you won't see at the game next Thursday? TNT or ESPN.
Oh, God. Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. I mean, yeah, don't even get me started.
Hey, it's good for Brian Siemens, so.
It is. Local ratings are going up.
All right, my friend. Thanks for doing this.
You.
If you need me on lockdown within the next 2 weeks, I'm there.
2
I owe
days.
you.
2 days.
2 days? I'm there.
All
I'm
right.
there.
All right.
Be good, Dime. There goes Dime Dropper. I'm going to stick with you guys a little bit longer here, see if we got any post-game audio or post-practice audio, because Nico Batum fully practiced today, and that's kind of a big deal. We're in good shape heading into this series. How many times could we say that? The Clippers are actually in good shape, health-wise, heading into this series. Not just health-wise, peaking on all levels. They're healthy, they're feeling good, and they even have their secret weapon in Nico Batum. All right. Audio on point now. I think we're sounding even better. And we got the phone number for you guys if you want to call in and react to what Dime and I were just discussing and previewing this series, and me and my pedantic ways talking about Ivica Zubac. He shouldn't be most improved player. He's been good forever. Don't you guys know? I probably should just let that one go. If he gets most improved player, we'll celebrate the hell out of it, of course, because we just love Big Zoo here. 877-520-1150 is the phone number. And I think I now have the capabilities to do what we typically do here. I mean, is Clay Vaughn going to call in? You know what? I'll play this to start things off. You're listening to Clippers Talk, baby. Here we go, Clips fans.
Clippers Talk with Adam Osland. After every game, download every pod. Clippers Talk's the name. He's a basketball talking golden god.
New episodes after every game on demand.
Follow Clippers Talk wherever you get your podcasts. Clippers.
I hate the fart noise at the end. All right, I'm checking right now on the YouTube side to see if we have any post-practice audio yet. I'll stay with you guys till then. And actually, there's some stuff I didn't get to review from yesterday's practice as well. Ooh, this was Coach Lue yesterday at practice. I want to make sure I get everything in here. So we'll start with this. We'll take your phone calls, 877-520-1150, 877-520-1150.
Available for practice, especially Nico.
We didn't practice today, so we'll evaluate Nico better tomorrow. But today, we just watch film and see what he says.
They evaluated him today. This was yesterday. He's good. He fully participated in practice, according to Joey Lynn. The team scrimmaged. Nico is good and ready to go. More from yesterday's practice from Coach Lue.
But it wasn't like a day-to-day type thing where you're playing into the playoffs at all?
Having been such a large part of his journey over the last few years, what's it like to see him get such buzz? I mean, external buzz, but internally you can tell the teams are game planning for him differently. Like, what's it like to watch him rise into this new echelon?
I think Lauren Rosen's asking about Ivica Zubac there.
I don't really like it because he talks a lot of stuff to me now, but it's great for him. Just showing you his maturity, showing his hard work and how it's paid off. Just working on different things. And James was talking to him, Harden was talking to him about last year he was terrible in double teams, but this year Jalen Nager, like I said, Larry Jr. is really helping him take his time, passing the ball to the right person, getting the spacing right, and he's been great. I think he's good for the league. A lot of players getting double teamed, making the right play and making the right pass, and so just incorporating that, just getting better, and I'm happy for him.
We got a phone call, 877-520-1150 if you want to get on Clippers Talk. All right, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Who's this?
Hey, Trey, calling from Redondo Beach. How's it going, man?
Trey, first-time caller here on Clippers Talk?
No, sorry, Ray.
Oh, it's Ray. I know Ray. Ray, what's good?
Yes, sir.
How you been? How you feeling?
Just got a meeting canceled, so I figured I'll call in. I'm feeling good. I love to hear about Nico. I really think he needs to be present there in our game. I want to give Ben Simmons another chance, but I did not love what I saw against the Warriors, and I think any bench lineup for the Nuggets where Jokic is still on the floor, we shouldn't have Ben out there.
Here's what I'll say about Ben. I think we're making too much about his shortcomings that actually don't affect the Clippers in that big of a negative way. I'll put it like this. It would be nice if he looked at the rim, looked to score more. Is that what he's best at anyways? No. He's a great passer. He pushes the pace. He makes other guys' life easier out there, and he's a solid defender. So I don't think he's a net negative. I don't. Just because he's not an offensive guy and not looking for a shot, I'm not that worried about him in 6 to 8 minutes per game in the playoffs. I'm not.
Well, counterpoint. Didn't we go, what was it, under in a 12-point hole while the bench was out there against the Warriors?
And then,
that's not without.
But then in the
That's not
fourth
with the
quarter,
center that is Jokic.
So we're just going to put this all on one 5-minute stretch of Ben Simmons and the bench unit from one game against Golden State, because counterpoint to that is they were really good to start the fourth quarter. So
They were.
we saw both sides of it. I'm going off the lineup that we've been seeing that has been a net positive for some time, which is Kawhi, Ben Simmons, Nico, DJ, and Bogey. I believe they're going to run that out there at times to start a second quarter or a fourth quarter. And I'm just not that concerned about Ben in that lineup. I'm not.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
I think there have been really good flashes during the season, and I think the coaching staff is going to harp on it and prepare him and the bench to do what needs to be done to keep us afloat and hopefully be a positive. Because any minutes that Jokic isn't on the floor, we have to win.
Yes.
Right?
Agreed.
We know that they don't have the depth. Right? So we just need to really take advantage of that. I think it was really unique in that Warriors game where Jimmy Butler was their main guy, and he was exploiting the crap out of Bogey.
Yeah.
I could see Bogey and Ben and everyone holding their own against Nuggets bench.
I agree with you. And look, I feel the same way as everybody.
Put it up, Ben!
It would be great if Ben would put it up more when he has an advantage, when he's right at the basket. I'm just not counting on it at this point. But I think in terms of how detrimental that is to the Clippers, we may be blowing things out of proportion a little bit, because it's just not what he does best anyways. Like, coming in, they already knew that when they brought him in.
Absolutely. Use him as a connector.
Yeah.
If he can rebound and if he can find DJ and DJ can just slam it down, hell yeah, I'm all in. Put it up, DJ. I think I need to. Yeah.
Ray, you got anything else?
Yeah, I just talked to a sales rep over at Clippers organization. Watch party confirmed for Saturday.
Let's go.
They just need to send out the details for people to reserve. So if you're out there, show up. Let's go in force. It was a lot of fun. It's probably like 500 to 700 people for the game against the Warriors. I think it's going to grow. So let's go, Clipper Nation.
Well, that is a solid crowd, and obviously they got the screen for it out there in the plaza. It's beautiful. I wish I could do a remote there and do the whole pre and post game show there, to be honest with you, but I will. I'll be checking out the crowd and see how it looks, and I'm sure it's going to be crazy. It's going to be wild. So, Ray, you bring us good news.
Dime's last video.
Yeah, Dime did a great video on it. Not on the lockdown, but on the Dime Dropper account. Definitely check that out. All right, Ray. Good stuff as always. We'll see you on the video there at the plaza. Be good. I know we got another phone call here. 877-520-1150. What's your name? Where you're calling from? You're on Clipper Stock.
Hey, this is Matt from Los Angeles.
Hi, Matt. First time?
No, I called in after the last home game, but first time calling to the podcast.
Okay. Right on, Matt. What do you want to say?
Well, I've been hearing a lot of criticisms of Ben Simmons, and I looked into the economics of it and the role of him, and it is just incredible the value we're getting. We pay this guy like $775,000. It's kind of like in Moneyball, where we had a player who used to be one thing, and everyone thinks he is this one thing, but we pay him for the player he is now. And having him just play free safety, dishing dimes, getting rebounds for that amount of money, I think it's unprecedented in the NBA.
I I tend to agree with you. Now, he hasn't looked as good as he did early on before he had that knee injury and missed a couple of weeks, because game 1 for him was that crazy overtime game right before the All-Star break, and he shined in Utah in that game. He hasn't been as good since that game 1 for the Clippers, or as impactful, but I don't think he's also been this huge detriment either, because he has a pretty high floor out there. He's not going to hurt you that much. You can say, yes, Ben isn't taking some of the shots you'd like him to take, but that's not what he's there for to begin with. And when you factor in, yes, he's on a prorated veteran minimum contract because he was bought out by the Brooklyn Nets, it's pretty much all upside. Like, anything you get from him is a positive, and his defense is solid. And that rebound he got, the offensive rebound, leading to that DJ dunk on Steph Curry in the second half of that game on Sunday, I think in the fourth quarter, that was a critical board that he scrapped for. That's what I need. Just do some of the little stuff out there, combined with his great vision and passing, and we're good with Ben.
Yeah, I think he's just been incredible. And, we still have Drew Eubanks, and we can play a lot of different ways. And, we used to run a lot of Batum at the 5, and we can still hit, Denver with that. And I just don't understand what Denver is doing with their backup center situation. And when you look at the other center rotations in the league, I think the Clippers with Ben Simmons playing center is a huge advantage.
Yeah, especially if he's insulated with Kawhi next to him, or Nico, or both. Then all of a sudden, while you're small, you got 3 guys with a ton of length, versatility out there, and switchability. You're small, but you're like a big small. It can work. I think it can definitely work against Denver, even against Jokic being out there, because Kawhi is going to have some times where he guards Jokic. Seen that before. Batum, obviously, is their second best defender against Jokic. I'm interested to see. I don't know what history Ben Simmons has with guarding him and how often they have matched up and how many possessions he's been on him in his career, but I'm sure it's happened. I will be interested to see how many looks he gets against Nikola Jokic. You just never know. That's going to happen at some point.
Yeah, I mean, he can definitely take it to him. I think the potential is there, and we've seen a lot of good things in the past, but, what he is now is so much value to him. And something else, I think that's really weighing heavily on the Nuggets is Jamal Murray must be thinking this is his last year with the Nuggets. Do you think that's the case?
Ooh. Let me check on his contract status, because I don't think he's a free agent this summer. I'm guessing he has at least 2 more years, but I could be wrong about that. He's making 31. Oh, he's making more than that. Yeah, he's signed through the 28-29 season. So he's a free agent the summer of 2029. It would be tough to move that contract. Look, it all depends who they bring in as their new GM. They're in a state of flux right now, and what you could get for him. And if you're talking about trying to reload with different guys surrounding Nikola Jokic that are more reliable, I could understand them going that direction. Trade anyone but Jokic and try to retool around him and put a winner there. But it's not like, I don't think Jamal Murray has been holding them back in any way outside of him just being injury prone. But when he's in the playoffs, he has been a playoff riser for the team. So I don't know. There's too many unknowns with who's taking over and what direction do they want to take the team now that they fired their head coach and their GM here, Matthew.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it looked like, Michael Malone really staked his reputation on Jamal Murray getting back to the player that he was. And he's been a good player, but there's no way he's worth the amount of money that they're paying him. And with Jokic potentially being very unhappy and looking to maybe leave, I think the Nuggets are potentially looking to clean house, get some kind of pick in this next draft, and find some comparable players for Jokic, or else they're really at risk for not retaining Jokic for the future.
Yeah, I know he's a loyal guy, but I wouldn't be shocked if there start being murmurs of, can I win here still? Are they going to surround me with the right guys? I don't know. While Jamal Murray, he hasn't been an all-star, it's mostly because, yes, he hasn't been as good in the regular season. He's gotten up in big playoff games, and he's performed at a very high level when it matters most. But during the regular season, he's been a different guy, and he's also been injured too much to make an all-star team. He's making over $50 million. You can say, well, he's not worth that contract. Anybody trading for him might know that as well. So it's not going to necessarily be an easy move to get rid of him to get equal value back. And if you're talking about bringing in a high draft pick for him and a young player, does that really make them better? Does that make Jokic does that take care of a guy who's smack dab in the middle of his prime in terms of winning now? I don't know if that's the solution either.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of squandered a lot of this Jokic potential here. And I think as organizations become desperate and they see, aging superstars like in Washington or, Portland, you just kind of got to bite the bullet at some point.
Well, what do you think happens in this series, Matthew? What's your series prediction?
I think it's going to be a great series. It's going to be real close. I got tickets for all the home games. Last time I called in, I let you know that I went to 18 home games during the regular season. Never saw them lose, so I'm hoping for the same situation. But it's going to be tough. I mean, Jokic is the greatest player in the world, maybe one of the greatest players of all time. You don't know what he's going to do, but I am more excited about this Clippers roster and the overall organization, the fan base, than I've ever been in my 8 years of being a Clippers fan. And I would say, like a lot of national media, Clippers in 6.
All right. I have the same, but if somebody told me Denver in 6, I could see that happening as well. I just think it's going at least 6 or 7. What would surprise me is if either team won the series in 5 games. And if I had to guess who could pull that off, though, who would have a better chance of winning in 5, I would say the Clippers. But I'm not going there. Matthew, what's that?
Bingo.
Little Ralph Lawler reference there. Matthew, I appreciate the phone call. May they continue to win at every home game you were at, since you're going to be there for this playoff series. You've been their good luck charm, clearly. Be good, Matthew.
Thanks so much.
877-520-1150, 877-520-1150 if you want to get on and give your series predictions here. But I still want to hear more from Coach Lue, and this is coming from yesterday. We will have the latest practice audio coming in just a little bit here.
Yeah, concerned that I'm showing you the right person, space with her, and I'm happy for you.
Coach, what are the advantages, disadvantages of, you haven't seen the Nuggets since, January?
People calling in today. We got another caller here, 877-520-1150. Welcome into Clippers Talk. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's up, man? This is Bargo from Maryland.
Bargo?
Bargov.
Oh, Gov. The governor's in here. Okay. Big government is back.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Bargov?
Yes, sir, we are.
How are we feeling?
Oh, man. Real quickly, just go to the Warriors game real quick.
Sure.
What a win. Crazy game. Kawhi kept us in it second quarter when the game was kind of teetering. And then, obviously, JH took over. Dude, I wanted Kawhi to hit that game winner over Dre so bad.
Me too.
Dre is so annoying, man.
But did you hear what he said post-game about Kawhi? He gave him major props.
That's good. That's good, at least. I know he has respect for him. And then Kawhi got him back by pulling the chair in OT. That was great.
Oh, yeah, with that smoke layup by Draymond.
Dude, you know what annoys me, though? And obviously, I respect Bob Myers, even guys like Wendy. But they get on TV and they're like, oh, this is the best Kawhi's looked in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's
yo, have you
annoying.
not been watching what he was all NBA last year?
He played 68 games last season. People act like Kawhi hasn't played in so long. He played 68 games last season and had a 30-game stretch where he set the all-time efficiency record. He's gotten back to that point, I feel like, now over the last 20 games or so, but let's not act like we just didn't see how good he was last season. And then the first season off the ACL, by January, he was averaging 28 per game, and he looked incredible then in the first 2 games against Phoenix. So, yeah, you go through the same stuff over and over again with the national media where they always are acting surprised because maybe they're too far away from the situation, maybe they're casuals, but it is annoying sometimes. Like, they are the ones that are forming opinions, and they know much less about the team.
Yeah, and look, I get it, right? Obviously, Kawhi's tenure has been marred by injuries in LA, but it's just dismissive of what he's done when he has played. Like, he's been a monster, you know? So it's a little bit odd. But anyways, man, yeah, super excited. Obviously, I have so much respect for Jokic. You know, I really think he's already one of the greatest to ever play.
I agree.
So it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. I think that firing their coach has reinvigorated them. And that quote he had was scary. Like, oh, beasts are come out when they're vulnerable. Whatever he said about that, that was kind of scary to hear, honestly.
Yeah. Wounded animals, a dangerous one. The beast could come out now. They have, in some ways, the Nuggets are playing with house money, and that's scary.
Yep.
You wouldn't normally say that when you have the best player in the league, but with how poorly the season went and the late firing in the season between the coach and the GM, they're in disarray. They're not supposed to make a run at this point. They're supposed to just want to get to the offseason and then see what happens. But, yeah, they could be dangerous. They are dangerous.
Yeah, I think for us, we got to try to, like, if we're going to win, I think it's got to be like a comfortable win. If it's close down the stretch, last 5 minutes, I just trust Jokic Murray 2-man game, you know, to be more reliable.
That's what I said with Dime. Did you hear the very end of the interview with Dime? That's the one thing I keep going back to that worries me most.
Yeah. I think, what game was it? Their last regular season game where the Grizzlies were beating them. And then I tuned in the last 5 and they just spam Jokic Murray 2-man. And Murray's one of those guys where he could be 3 for 18 through 3.5 quarters. And then those last 4 or 5 minutes, he'll just rain ridiculous step back jumpers. Like, he's ice, you know, he's kind of ice cold in that way.
He hits some unguardable shots. He has that irrational confidence that even if, as you mentioned, he's been clanking all night, he believes he's going to hit the next one late in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he'll just fade right over you, and somehow he'll just rain it. So, yeah, I mean, I think Harden, definitely with the high pick and roll, he'll have more opportunity to cook just based on the Nuggets defense. I think Jason Timp was saying it, that the good thing about having Aaron Gordon on Kawhi is he is unable to help defense in the paint. So if they're able to put like Braun on Kawhi and have Gordon help, you know, weak side or all that as a low man, that could be good for them. But yeah, I think generally I have faith in Harden and Kawhi to do their thing. Ultimately, it's probably going to come down to, is Norm hitting his shots? Is Bogey hitting threes? Is, you know, Dunn, DJ, like, are those guys hitting enough threes, essentially?
Yeah.
That's probably what it'll come down to. So
they're coming into the series hot from 3, 43% from 3. Overall, the Clippers, last 21 games, hottest team in the league from 3. But you have a week off. It's kind of a clean slate, but they should have confidence still. They should. I mean, Chris Dunn is on a heater. His last 12 to 15 games, he's well over 40% from the outside on about 55 attempts from 3. So they're in the right state you want to be in heading into a playoff series. Whether or not it translates or carries over, we'll find out on Saturday.
100%. I agree with you that Dunn, huge X factor when he's hitting the outside shot. I mean, that's just massive for the offense, what it opens up. And real quick on Zubats, I agree with you in terms of, like, dude, he's been a dog for 3, 4, 5 years. I think Coach Lue just said, which I agree with, his biggest improvement has been passing, on the short roll, double team, just being more comfortable with passing. That's probably where he's improved the most last couple of years. But, I love JH and Kawhi. Sometimes they do annoy me a little bit when they don't give Zoo the ball more. It's like, come on, man, like just feed him a little bit. But it's all good. They know what they're doing. But sometimes in the first half, I'm like, yo, you guys are struggling in the second quarter. Just let's get the ball to Zoo here,
I agree with you. That's the thing that has consistently frustrated me for years. But they've been much better this year about it. We shall see.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. I appreciate you, Adam. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for all you do.
Appreciate you, Big Gov. We'll talk soon. 877-520-1150 if you want to get on. Back to Coach Lue from yesterday before we hear from some post-practice audio today.
So I'm Harden was talking to him about just working the league, a lot of players.
Disadvantages of, you haven't seen the Nuggets since, January 8th.
Haven't seen Nuggets since January 8th. Yeah, it's been that long.
The playoffs is different, so no advantage during the season or after the season. Just for us, our mindset's got to be, we got to take away from this team. They're dangerous in transition. We can't allow them to have 36 points in transition like we did in Game 3. We can't turn the ball over and things like that. So we know what we got to do, and if we capitalize on that, we should be in good shape.
If you listened yesterday, I went through all the numbers with Denver. And yes, most fast break points in the league on the season. They are very dangerous in transition. And the Clippers, if there's one flaw with their defense, it's their transition defense.
What are the challenges of preparing for a team that a week ago changed their head coach and going into a playoff series against them?
It's challenging every time you step into the floor in the playoffs. But, Coach Malone, you know how he ran stuff and how he did things. And, it's gonna be a little different. Just kind of see, what they run, sets they run, rotations, and if they do anything different. So we'll see. I'm not quite sure.
And I know it's been 5 years since you guys last saw them in the playoffs. You were on the bench for that, and so was David Adelman. Is there anything I know it's been 5 years, but is there anything you could take from that series and kind of look at going into this one, or is it just completely different?
It's completely different. Yes, completely different.
Coach Lue said there's nothing he can take away from the series in the bubble. It's completely different.
Altitude, how much of a difference does that make? And what do you look for to make sure your guys are feeling fine and doing okay?
Just getting through that first time out. I think altitude does play a role. And just getting through that first time out, we want your second win and just kind of go from there. But it shouldn't be a big deal.
Regarding the altitude, just get through that first time out. You'll get your second win after that. Shouldn't be a big deal.
Aaron Gordon's been a guy that's probably got some problems. They also have MPJ with bigger lineups.
Say it again.
So they also have MPJ create some problems with the bigger lineups. Aaron Gordon. How do you begin to prepare for those two? I mean, again, we've seen Aaron Gordon do what he does in the Classic against you guys. We've seen MPJ as well. But this is also a new team. I don't think you guys had Kawhi for 3 of those 4 matches. 4 of them. So, yeah. So, how do you begin to prepare with specifically those 2 guys? What's the problem?
We started with that today. Trying to keep them off the glass. We know in transition Gordon's running. We're trying to get the smaller guys. And, we just got to stick with our game plan and go from there. I can't tell you that.
You have been playing playoff-like games up until the postseason. You guys pretty much needed to win every single one.
Yeah, it's been good. They've been in the same situation. So I think
Coach Lue acknowledges both teams have kind of been in the pressure cooker. Denver had to continue to win to make sure they had home court advantage in the first round over the Clippers. Clippers had to continue to win to stay out of the play-in.
Adam has come in, done a great job of just handling the pressure of that, getting his team to the 4 seed. And like I said, both teams have been playing playoff games for the last 15, 20 games. And so we're both kind of used to it.
I would say, though, the Clippers had to literally play a game to stay out. It was an unofficial play-in game on Sunday. They had higher stakes in that game than Denver has dealt with.
Talk to Mike Malone.
You said, would I ever?
Did you ever talk to him?
What you mean?
During the playoffs? I mean,
we got this. He said he wouldn't talk to Mike Malone to get intel on Denver. It's too close to the firing, and Yeah.
Point guard. And then 2, the teams are pressuring James. You have somebody who can miss you.
By defensively, is it what he does offensively? There's something about the way that they've worked.
Yeah, I think, like I said, Chris's defense is important. You have a point of attack defender, so James will have the point guards. And then
Talking about Chris Dunn's defense.
and 2, the teams are pressuring James. You have somebody who can miss you the offense, gets in our sets, and James doesn't have to get bored down throughout the course of the game.
So what he likes about him, point of attack defense first, and then number 2, what he can do is be that release valve for James Harden and getting the basketball and bringing the ball up the floor and having just another ball handler out there. Chris Dunn does some of that.
When you get ready for a playoff run, and obviously you've done all the way to the finish line, I know you're focused on your immediate opponent, but does the bigger, larger picture of 4 possible rounds in the playoffs enter into how you handle your lineups and playing time and anything like that?
Coach, this is the best we've seen Kawhi, in the past 2 or 3 years. Just where's his?
This is the best we've seen Kawhi the past 2 or 3 years. It's just not true. He played 68 games last season. He set the all-time efficiency mark. He put up 57, 52, 90 shooting splits over a 30-game period. I don't understand. Where were these people?
Coach, this is the best we've seen Kawhi, in the past 2 or 3 years. Just where's his mental space at, and how confident are you guys knowing that, we got our guy at peak performance?
Yeah, we're confident. He's in a great mental space, like you said, just going through everything to get to this point where, at the end of the season, he's healthy. And so that's been a while since that happened. And I'm happy for him because he put in the hard work to get to this point. Like I said, along with our medical staff, it's been great, but I'm happy for him.
What advantage is it?
I think people try to simplify things with Jokic and they say just make him a scorer, don't let him get involved.
I think you got to give him different coverages. He's too great. He's too great just to give him one simple thing and say, okay, we're going to let him score. He might get 50 or 60. Okay, we're going to take away a score. He might get 20 assists. I think you got to do different things throughout the course of the game and not try to let him get comfortable. We've seen probably every defensive team is thrown at him, but just try to keep him off balance the best you can. You can't give him steady down at the same time.
I love that from Coach Lue. You got to give him different coverages, Nikola Jokic. It's easy to say, oh, take this away, take that away. He's Jokic. But give him different looks. Have guys that are changing levels on him. That's always been his belief going up against superstars. It makes the most sense.
Is there something to him scoring versus getting his teammates involved versus both in the same game? Like, is there something to keeping it more towards one than the other?
Yeah, for sure. You definitely want to give them both. You can't give him 40 points and 15 assists. You can't do that because now he's dictating the game. Guys are getting involved as well as him scoring the basketball. So it's hard to do. He's a 3-time MVP for a reason, but we got to do a good job of just trying to take away one of those things. So he's not being aggressive and doing both.
Thank you. He does acknowledge you got to take away one of those things. So here was Ivica Zubac and James Harden yesterday before we get to Kawhi Leonard today.
We got some action today. Cracking.
James, can I ask you first, what do you make of the way that this guy has probably been the best at defending Jokic this season thus far? What have you seen with the big matchup in the series?
It's a variety of things. He's able to contest with his size. He's been playing against him for a very long time, so he knows pretty much his tendencies and what Joker likes to do. He's a tough cover, but I think Drew does an unbelievable job with him contesting the shot and matching his physicality in the post.
Harden showing love to Big Zoo there about what he does best against Jokic, his size, knowing his tendencies, been going up against him for a while. Yeah, we got some Zuno here, Ray. If you guys want to call in, 877-520-1150 and give your thoughts on this series and how you think it's going to go, phone lines are open.
James, when the All-Star game was rolling around, you had mentioned how much of an honor it would be to get selected, and you obviously were able to go and be represented in that way. Similar question this time around, what would it mean for the season day?
Okay, I've heard this question and answer. We played it yesterday. Keep moving.
Y'all know Zoo here too, right? I'm just security.
Harden asking them to ask Ivica Zubac some questions. Y'all know Zoo's here too, right?
Well, I was going to ask, when you guys talk about ending the season playing well, playing at a high level. It's easier said than done. Now that you guys have done that, what do you think that can have to do with anything with the playoff series?
What about ending the season well and what that can do for a playoff series with momentum?
Boost for us. You know what I mean? Like I think we know who we are. Like defensively, we have to be great every single night, and then offensively, it could be any one of us that got it going. You know what I mean? Like to where Zook can post ups or Y and Norm or myself or Bogey. So for us, I think the game is going to dictate who got it going. You know what I mean? But defensively, I think that's the main. That's the most important thing. Is us making sure we locked in on that side of the basketball.
We talked a lot about that this season, but the Clippers have had this advantage with knowing how they want to play each and every night on defense. They have had a standard there. They have had an identity there. So the defense was built into their DNA. And I love that James Harden starts with that there. It begins with their defense. And then see who has it going that night. Could be anyone's night. Who has the advantage? The game will dictate the rest of it on the offensive end.
It's obviously going to be a big part of what you guys do defensively, but talk about a little bit about what he did on Sunday against Steph. I know Steph's not his, but what does it say about him that Steph's not his own, but Steph just had to work for every single thing?
Yeah, I mean, this is the league. You know what I mean? Like, the best players are gonna make shots. They're gonna make it, but you can't get too low. You can't get too high. You gotta be even kill. And for us, I think we were resilient. We made shots, and we just kept our composure, and ultimately we came here to win. So in the playoffs, it's gonna be ups and downs. You know what I mean? Whether you're up 1-0, 2-0, or you're down 0-2. You know what I mean? So you gotta be even killed. You gotta continue to do your job at the highest level, and you look at the results.
The composure they showed against Golden State in that game, the poise they had, absorbing those crazy shots from Steph Curry with 18 in the fourth quarter and still coming out with the victory, that speaks to just how tough-minded this Clippers team is to win that game in overtime the way they did. And they got their Golden State's best shot. And that is just the perfect way to enter the playoffs, having a game like that, because it's going to happen against Denver too, where Jokic and Murray are making impossible shots.
You've had a career year across the board. You've had a career year across the board. What does it mean to have games to be a part of that?
Means a lot. He's part of it, of course. I don't think any of this would be possible without my teammates and James leading that. He's been really good for all of us on the team. He's setting everyone up. He communicates. He got all the experience in the world. Got a lot of stuff we learned from him, and none of this would be
testament to his work.
None of this would be possible without James.
I was going to ask you that, but from the time
None of this would be possible without James. He's the MVP this season, guys. It's clear.
you played against him, not being a teammate, how much have you seen him?
Oh my God, night and day. I feel sorry.
That's crazy.
Be more specific.
I just experience, man. Like, being on the court, you get the experience, and for him, like he works, jump hooks, defensively, body positioning, defensively helping the guys out, like both sides of the ball. He's grown into an elite big in this league. I don't think anybody saw that coming. Honestly, I don't even think he saw it coming. But he's grown so much, and he's only going to continue to get better, which is the scary part.
Harden showing Zoo love there. Mark Jag asking, do you want Harden on MPJ? He was saying he'll be guarding Christian Brown. I think there's a good chance he guards MPJ and just stays home, doesn't let him get any threes off, because Christian Brown's more of a cutter slicing to the basket. He also has had a good year shooting-wise from three. But I think Harden would have more trouble guarding a guy slicing to the basket in Christian Brown maybe than MPJ. But we shall see. I think they're both decent options for James. It also could be James Harden on Aaron Gordon, honestly, because his post defense is really good. And if Aaron Gordon wants to hang out on the three-point line because he shot 44% from there, that's another option for James.
I know it's been 5 years since you played them in the playoffs, but is there anything you can take from that series into the tournament? It's been too long.
There's nothing they can take away, apparently, from that series in the bubble against Denver, according to Coach Lue, and now Zubac's here, too.
5 years since you played them in the playoffs, but is there anything you can take from that series into the tournament? It's been too long.
No, I was 22. I'm a way different player now, and all the experience I got now, it's going to be a lot different on on both sides. So I don't think teams take much from that series.
Jack, what's the most exciting thing for you about being in the playoffs? You've been playing in this league now for all these years.
Another opportunity to reach the goal, the ultimate goal. You don't really take it for granted. You know what I mean? Like a lot of guys don't get an opportunity to make the playoffs. So I don't ever take it for granted.
What is Mars talking about? Harden on Murray? They're going to have Chris Dunn on Jamal Murray. You're not putting Harden on Jamal. My guy over here has been talking a lot of trash towards the Denver Nuggets. I don't know if he knows them well enough if he thinks Harden on Murray is how the Clippers are going to play defensively.
You don't really take it for granted. You know what I mean? Like a lot of guys don't get an opportunity to make the playoffs. So I don't ever take it for granted. Each game, each possession is different. Each series is different. So you just take it one game at a time and literally, like I said, you don't get too high, you get too low. But another opportunity for me and to do something special.
I love that from James. Another opportunity, being in the playoffs again, another chance to do something special. Never take it for granted, even though he's never missed the playoffs.
Collaboration changed now that you're in the playoffs with the coaching staff specifically. You mentioned before that a big part of how you want to feel connected to what your role is working with the coaches and everything.
We heard this yesterday, talking about the collaborative effort between James Harden and the coaching staff.
I really didn't know how hard you had to work. You know what I mean? Like in the sacrifice that you had to do to be able to be standing where I'm standing. If that makes sense. So like, a lot of guys make it to the NBA. You know what I mean? And then it's another thing to, stick in the NBA and then to be playing 16 years and then at the highest level. Like there's so many different variables that go into it to where you got to be a different type of breed. And for me, I just have the mindset to, whether it's coming off the bench or, taking a role, a step back in my role, whatever the case may be, just, finding joy in the game and loving it and continue to push even when things aren't looking like they're just.
Harden loves the game so much, guys. His passion for the game might be unmatched. Never misses games. Like, he just loves to hoop. Real hooper.
This team sucks. A lot of really good isolation players. People getting their own buckets. Do now. Like, where does that even like in the playoff season? Needed.
Because
here's Harden on ISO buckets.
After game, first of all, man, like we're going over Denver. Denver knows us, we know them. After game 2-3, we make the adjustments. All right, the plays don't matter no more. You know what I mean? It's about one-on-one, go get a bucket. Who's guarding who. And for us, we got a handful of guys that can do that. I mean, obviously, two in the post. Myself, Bob, we got a lot of guys that can create opportunities. So for me, it's not even, obviously creating my own shot, but getting opportunities to get other guys involved too. So I think that's what we separate ourselves.
What do you look forward to defensively? Like being on the court in this team, what excites you about the defense?
What do you look forward to defensively? What excites you on that end?
Yeah.
No. Harden's like, is that for Risa Zubas?
Just knowing that I got him behind me, you know what I mean, that have my back, and other guys, obviously KD and Y and DJ, like our entire team. I mean, this is, like I said, so connected this entire year. Like it makes it fun. You know what I mean, knowing somebody got your back and offensively, just sharing the basketball. Seeing Zoo get 20s and 20s, that's exciting. You know what I mean? That's like, you know what I mean? That's just, it's a different feeling.
Hey, Zoo, you guys, James, you guys haven't seen the Nuggets, since January 8th. Other than health, how different are you guys stuff on the table?
Completely different team.
What could they take away from the last meeting? I mean, was January 8th against Denver.
You guys stuff on the table.
Completely different team. Completely different team. I don't even know who's playing. When we played them, but I just know our team is different. We got, we added Bogey, added, Ben, Kawhi healthy.
Really different team. We added Bogey, added Ben. Kawhi's healthy.
It's a completely different team.
That's why I haven't really gone back and studied the 4 games against Denver much this season. It's just so different now. from their side, with the firings, from the Clippers side, with the guys they acquired. It's too different to really take away a lot from those matchups.
Some of the people in the last couple of days who said they're either voting for you for most improved or, all NBA. When you hear that from people who do have votes, what does that mean to you?
It meant a lot. I was never in any conversation about any awards, so just being in a conversation and being able to have a chance at one of those means a lot. It came a long way, and just motivation to push even harder and even harder.
Are you mindful?
It means a lot to Zoo to be considered for all these awards.
Of the fact that team success often leads to individual recognition like that?
Yeah, of course. None of this would be possible if the team wasn't playing good. If the guys weren't playing well, if we weren't winning games, none of this would be possible. And each one of us knows that, and we all know if we play good, we all look good. So that's all that matters.
The fact that you guys have 4 players that can literally take over games, with Norman, Kawhi, and James, and yourself, does that give you guys an advantage over many teams if you have so many different players that can actually take over a game?
We got different weapons, and I'm going to go to war with anyone else but these guys. James, Kawhi, Norman, Bobby, DJ, Katie, all the guys on the team. They are dogs, both ends of the floor. We've been doing it all year, and we're
Good opportunity.
Yeah.
They got a lot of guys they can beat you with. There is a big 4.
We've seen the on-court chemistry building on that. When you have a game like Sunday, the words are not doing that. You got to get the small pick and roll. Chris finds a floater once, he finds you for a while. Do those experiences, are you still learning to play with each other in those different situations where you get a zone thrown at you like a fourth quarter like that?
We've seen pretty much every defense. You know what I mean? So I think it's us just recognizing what defense they're in and then all right, this is what they're doing. This is how we capitalize on it. And the sooner and the quicker we do it, now the team's got to adjust to something else. And at that point, we got them. So, it's about just executing for us, not turning the basketball over and getting back in position. Those are the 2 things. But we've seen every defense, so nothing really surprises us.
I like what you said there. It's about not turning the basketball over and getting back in transition. That's so key to this series. Turning it over against Denver is death. Because they know also the Clippers' one weakness on defense is their transition defense. They get set, you're in trouble. So they're going to try to push the ball on every turnover. The Clippers have to take care of the basketball. So hearing that from James Harden is especially encouraging.
Last question. After the Warriors game, Steph spoke really highly of the man. Just talked about how far back you guys go. He talked about you guys kicking it in college and fatigue and 09 and whatnot. Just what can you say not only about the longevity that you guys have, but you mentioned a little bit still being at a really high level in 2025.
The longevity of him and Steph.
That's what it's about, man. Year 16, Steph is obviously Steph. What he's been able to accomplish his entire career, it's unbelievable. We're all witnessing real greatness. The battles, the Warrior teams, man, I had to go against is it's probably the reason why I still haven't got a championship yet. But what he's been able to do his entire career is unbelievable. I'm happy to be a part of something like that.
All right, so that was from yesterday, James Harden and Ivica Zubac. We also had the sound yesterday from Coach Lue that we just reviewed. But what about this? Kawhi Leonard today at Clippers practice. Apparently it was a long practice. They scrimmaged, and Nico Batum participated in the entire practice. That deserves a woo! 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 877-520-1150 is the phone number. If you want to get on, give your predictions on the series. Let's hear from Kawhi Leonard. This audio just came out 10 minutes ago from practice.
It's like any other game. Just make sure that we focus and tied in together. We're starting out on the road with a good playoff team. Just communicating and making sure we execute.
Like something good said the way out of your ear. You played a lot of minutes the other night. You feeling good after that?
Kawhi's feeling good after playing a lot of minutes. He said, yeah. Woo! That also deserves a woo!
Talk a lot about two things: getting to April healthy, playoff healthy, and also playing at a high level. You guys won 18 of 21. You've been healthy coming into the postseason. What can you kind of take away from those heading into? What can that bring you into a postseason round like you have coming up?
Just giving us opportunity to play for something, and valuing every possession down that last stretch. We pretty much needed to win. I think we saw those games. And, we were able to do that to put us in this position. So I just think the experience could roll over into the series.
I love hearing that. The experience of them being in that pressure cooker, valuing every possession, all those games being magnified to end the regular season because they needed a win to get that 5 spot. Winning 8 straight, winning 18 of their last 21, that all could be valuable. As Kawhi just said, it all could roll over into a playoff series. It's all great learning experiences. Just the best, obviously, learning experiences. The best way to learn is experience, obviously. And they got those reps in heading into the playoffs. More Kawhi. This just came out.
Right. After everything you've been through, won 2 championships, what makes you still excited about the playoffs?
What gets you excited about the playoffs?
Just having an opportunity to go get another one.
Having an opportunity to go get another one. Brad Turner there asked him about, you won 2 championships. What gets you excited about the playoffs? Ooh.
Just having an opportunity to go get another one. Everybody, wants to be here, and every team is playing for these moments, and just got to take the great advantage of the opportunity and just give it your all.
Having an opportunity to go get another one, to go get another ring. Wow. Love hearing that from Kawhi.
After everything you've been through and to get to April healthy, are you feeling any sense of relief or gratitude?
No. I'm just happy that, I was able to get here, and my teammates did a great job down that last stretch. And, just, like I said, just don't take the opportunity for granted and try to play my best. And that's it. I'm just having fun.
Fun guy. I'm just having fun.
Try to play my best, and that's it. Just having fun.
Well, you mentioned, obviously, not just being healthy in April, being healthy in the offseason, having an actual healthy offseason for the first time in a long time. The stuff that you've come back from, and every time you come back, you look as good or if not better than the previous time. That motivation to keep coming back, where does that mental drive for you come from?
I love the game. I love the game, and I have a passion for it still. I love to compete out there. So that's pretty much what drives me back. Everything has its ups and downs. And, you got to go through those in life and just keep going through.
I love the game. I still have a passion for it. That's his drive and his motivation to come back. That was an awesome question, Justin Rousseau there.
Still feel like you have something to prove, not to the outsiders, but even just to yourself personally?
No. I'm just always just playing basketball and having fun and trying to, try to get to that next step. It's either the next game and play great, and now we're in the playoffs, so just kind of win games. And that's it.
Well, we could hear you guys for the last hour, doing a lot of on-court stuff here at practice. Just what was today's practice like? What was the focus on?
Just focusing on some of our plays, like I was telling Law earlier, just execution and just making sure that we tie it together going into Denver, and focusing in on them and see what they do well offensively and defensively, and just seeing what we can do to try to counter on those triggers.
With Jokic, people often simplify it, like make him a passer, not just a scorer, vice versa. Is that easier said than done? Is one more hurtful than the other when you're trying to defend him?
Ooh, good question, Tomer Azarli. Is one more hurtful than the other with Jokic, him being the passer or the scorer? And is it easier said than done to try to make him one-dimensional?
Yeah, you never know in a game of basketball. Like I say, you can't play the game perfect. You can't guard anyone perfect. So whatever way you guard him, he's going to try to execute. And if that's him scoring high or getting high assists, that's just how the game turned out. But we're just focused on trying to win the basketball game. Obviously, he's a big part of it and he causes a lot of attention.
When you go to San Diego, you know, and have those moments where you can go to the ballpark, especially in a really tense moment in the regular season going in about to prepare for what's going on in a place like San Diego
that's my home, so I'm at home, and I was able to have time off this week to catch the game, and anytime I can do that, you know, I do. So it's either that or going somewhere with kids or just enjoying myself at the beach. So just broadcasting.
Talking about San Diego being his home, went to that Padres game, had some time off.
What do fans mean to you? So being able to now go into the playoffs in your own arena, your own home, what does that feeling feel like to you?
It's great that we're able to get here, especially with this being the first year into it. I think that's amazing. I hope the fans are excited. I know they will be once we come back for game 3 and 4. You know, I'm just happy that they get this experience.
Well, throughout the course of your career, you've consistently been one of the best playoff performers in the NBA.
Ooh, here comes a good question from Joey Lynn.
Well, throughout the course of your career, you've consistently been one of the best playoff performers in the NBA, and in many cases, your play has actually improved from the regular season to the postseason. What is it about your game that you believe makes that the case?
What is it about your game that makes you raise your game in the playoffs?
The case.
Just probably playing, wanting to win more, and you know, it's drilling down to maybe your last game of the season. You know, just like how it was at the end of our season now. So now you either got 4 or 7 times to play within that range. So I think it's just leaving it all out on the floor and then just going into the summer knowing that you try to give it your all.
Just play it harder. It's the playoffs. You got to give us your all. Oh, I need to hear that again.
So now you either got 4 or 7 times to play.
About your game that you believe makes that the case?
Just probably playing, wanting to win more, and you know, it's drilling down to maybe your last game of the season. You know, just like how it was at the end of our season now. So now you either got 4 or 7 times to play within that range. So I think it's just leaving it all out on the floor and then just going into the summer knowing that you try to give it your all.
Thanks, Squad. Thanks, Squad.
Let's get. Thank you guys. Have a good one. God, I love Kawhi. Thanks to Hoop Jab for that audio. Do we got anything else here? Nothing else uploaded yet. Waiting to see if we'll get some Coach Lue practice audio. I'll stay with you guys because I think that's coming very soon here. And I need it. Oh, we do got it. Here was Coach Lue earlier today.
Hi, can we get a personnel update before we talk about practice? Is Nico able to do anything?
He went through the whole practice.
So he's past his groin issue?
I mean, we don't know. I mean, just still, he got through practice today, so we'll see going forward.
Okay, there's the full Nico update. He participated in the entire practice.
Woo!
Hi, can we get a personnel update before we talk about practice? Is Nico able to do anything?
He went through the whole practice.
So he's past his groin issue?
I mean, we don't know. I mean, just still, he got through practice today, so we'll see going forward.
He got through practice today, so we'll see going forward. It's Wednesday, so I'm hopeful. Even if he's a little bit sore coming out of the practice tomorrow, I'm hopeful Nico will be good by Saturday.
What did you guys do at practice? We could hear you guys for an hour on the court. What did you guys do?
Yeah.
I mean, not just any practice, they scrimmage. High level practice.
We feel good. You know, like this team, we won a championship 2 years ago, so we have a 2-time MVP, so some really good players, you know, a lot of other guys. So, you know, it's going to be a tough challenge, but we feel good. We're very excited.
We feel good, but it's going to be a tough challenge. We know they were champions just 2 years ago.
How refreshing is it to have Kawhi be this healthy going into the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, it feels good. You know, I'm happy for him, you know, for all the hard work he's put in to get to this point and to be healthy, you know, at the end of the season. Like I said, it feels good for us, and him playing at a high level, you know, helps his team out tremendously. So I'm glad where he's at right now.
Do you see that in his mental state? That
Yes, he feels good. Yes, ma'am.
What does it say about him as a competitor that he can just keep coming back and look at how he looks after everything that he's been dealt with?
Yeah, I mean, it just says a lot about him, about his dedication to the game. I say his hard work, and but like I said, I will continue to keep giving our medical staff a lot of credit. They put him through a lot of stuff, and didn't let him shortcut. Checked every box before he came back, and he's been feeling good. So I'm happy about that as well.
After the game the other day, he said the organization allowed him to consult like outside sources and stuff. The partnership with him, how have you seen it grow over the years since you've been coaching him, whether it's through just the organization in general, just him on the floor, him with the guys?
No, I mean, just the trust. The trust. I think to give Maggie Bryant a chance to show him some different things in different ways to try to be 100% at the end of the season and doing things a different way. And so her, along with Kawhi's group, they've done a good job, like saying, getting to this point. So the biggest thing is just trusting.
They've exhausted every avenue to make sure Kawhi is healthy for this moment.
Statistically, Denver was a bottom 10 defense, but when you prepare for a playoff series against them, like, what strengths do you see from them on that end of the floor?
Oh, this is a good question from Law. Statistically, Denver's a bottom 10 defense, but you're planning on playing them now, or you're game planning against them. What strengths do you see with their defense?
I don't know.
Coach Lue doesn't want to give anything away. He said, I don't know.
Coach, I mean, I ain't gonna tell you, so I can. I mean,
there's some basic things like we all know who they're going to play.
You know that? You all know it. So why would you ask me?
Because you're the head coach. I'm not coaching.
I mean, no, I ain't gonna tell you. I mean, yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
There you go.
Man. You know what I'm saying? Good question, though, Law. I mean, but I ain't gonna tell them what they're good at.
Oh, this is good.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, so I can. I mean,
there's some basic things like we all know who they're going to play.
You know that? You all know it. So why would you ask me?
Because you're the head coach. I'm not coaching.
I mean, no, I ain't gonna tell you. I mean, yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
There you go.
Man. You know what I'm saying? Good question, though, Law. I mean, but I ain't gonna tell them what they're good at. I mean, what should we do?
I mean, there's not a lot. It's bottom 10 defense, so.
Well, you said they're good at a couple things, right?
Yeah, a few.
Okay.
But my perspective don't matter as much as yours. So.
I respect the question, but I'm not going to answer that one, Law. Give me something else.
All right. You got Jokic. How do you have a scout team Jokic? Do you have someone that kind of has to kind of simulate what he does so that it helps prepare you to play them?
Yeah, we've been doing that a little bit. Ben has done it a little bit. Ben Simmons, along with Patrick Baldwin, a guy that, like I said, can post, can stretch the defense, can put the ball.
Ooh, so Ben Simmons and Patrick Baldwin Jr. have been replicating Jokic in practice for them to get prepared. Obviously, nobody can really do that, but you do what you can.
A little bit. Ben has done it a little bit. Ben Simmons, along with Patrick Baldwin, a guy that, like I said, can post, can stretch the defense, can put the ball on the floor, can pass. And so it's been different. Like I said, preparing for him is not an easy task. It's not going to be something where we got to expect, Zoo every night to be able to go out in one-on-one. So we just got to give him different looks to try to keep him off balance. But, you double team him, he's going to have 15 assists. If you stay at home, he might have 50. So we just got to just, mix it up, mix up the coverage, just try to keep him off balance as best we can.
So interesting there that he mentioned Ivica Zubac. We can't expect him to just guard him one-on-one the entire time.
You got Jokic.
It's not going to be something where we got to expect, Zoo every night to be able to go out in one-on-one. So we just got to give him different looks to try to keep him off balance. But, you double team him, he's going to have 15 assists. If you stay at home, he might have 50. So we just got to just, mix it up, mix up the coverage, just try to keep him off balance as best we can.
Do you envision matching his minutes with Zeus?
I can't remember.
Coach, going back to Jokic. You guys
Do you envision matching Zoo's minutes with Jokic's? I can't remember.
3 times this year, and 2 of the 3 times you guys have held him under 5 assists. Is that indicative going into this series? What you guys are looking to take away? We know he's going to score, but keeping those assist numbers, that's your main focus going, and not your main, but your focus going into the series.
I mean, it's a big focus, and if we can do that, that means you're taking other players out of the game. He's not getting assists, guys are not getting dunks or layups for easy threes, and so Like I said, I don't think it's going to be the same way the whole series. I think it's going to be different versions of our defense that you're going to see.
I don't think it's going to be the same thing the whole series. I think it's going to be different versions of our defense that you're going to see.
And then we just try to keep them off balance as best we can.
Keep them off balance the best we can.
What do you tell your guys about the grind of a postseason run, about the preparation, for staying ready?
Yeah, I mean, they know. I mean, we have a veteran team, so these guys understand what it takes. Every game's going to be different. Teams are going to make adjustments. They're going to do things differently. And so we just got to stay the task, stay the course. And so they have great players. They're going to make some tough shots. And we just got to keep coming, stay the course, and just show resolve, show resolve, especially at the third place with a really good team.
I like that. Show resolve. You got to be ready. They're going to hit some tough shots, just like Steph did. They're going to hit some crazy shots. Next play. Keep going.
Yes.
What challenges does he present in that regard, and how you try to prepare the team to be ready for how often he likes to leak out and get in the break?
Yeah, I think that EG made that clear yesterday, when he showed film. But he's leading, like you said, leading the league in transition points.
He's talking about Christian Brown in transition has led the league in that area in transition points.
And to show resolve, show resolve, especially at the
It's a question from Justin Rousseau here.
Christian
Brown has led the NBA in fast break points this year.
Yes.
What challenges does he present in that regard, and how you try to prepare the team to be ready for how often he likes to leak out and get in the break?
That's why I don't love James Harden guarding him. I might rather have him on Michael Porter Jr.
I think that EG made that clear yesterday, when he showed film. But he's leading, like you said, leading the league in transition points. He's fast, he's athletic, he's explosive around the basket. And he contests and leaks out sometimes. And so we got to get back. We can't try. We can't belly run. We got to get back and take them out of transition. Like I said, the third game, we played them. They had 36 points in transition. And, we got a team with Joker and Jamal Murray on it. It's going to be hard to beat their team and get 36 points. So we got to know we got to get back, take care of transition, and then make them play against our half-court defense.
So he's brought up multiple times, so they gave up 36 points in transition to Denver, the third game against them this season. Denver averages 21 points in transition, fast break points, most in the league. Here's the problem. They're going to have Christian Brown on James Harden. When he takes those step back threes, and if he misses long, Christian Brown is beating him down the floor immediately. He's going to be running down the floor. He's going to be guarding James Harden. And if he's missing those step back threes on him, Christian Brown is taking off, because often James Harden falls to the floor, tries to draw the foul on those threes. His man, this happens all the time, but it will definitely happen against Christian Brown because he led the league in transition points. He's going to go cherry picking. That is a real concern in this series. That's part of the reason he'll be on James Harden. He's a good defender, but also James Harden misses those shots, boom, he's gone down the floor. And they're going to try some long outlet passes to him and hit heads. And they have Nikola Jokic to do it. If James Harden is missing, that's scary, because his man is going to be beating him down the floor on Christian Brown.
We didn't see a lot of Nico playing the five once you guys got Ben Simmons, but what do you kind of, I don't know if you can remember the answer to this actually, but what do you kind of envision as far as like the differences that you can go with those? So obviously Ben is more of a can push in transition, rebound. Nico can space the floor out. He's a really good help defender. Like, what do you envision those two differences with them at the five looking like?
Yeah, like you said, Ben's ability to push the basketball in transition, make plays, get people easy shots. And then with Nico, like he's at the five, being able to stretch the floor. The Joker's going to blitz or whatever he's going to do on the drop. Like, he has to be covered back to Nico, can shoot the basketball, get to the next action, and try to move Joker around a little bit. So it's good to have two different versions, but actually three, because you have Zoo as well. So 3 different versions of center position, and just kind of see how it looks, what the game calls or needs.
So Coach Lue is fully admitting there, per the question from Tomer Ozarli, Ben Simmons will be guarding Nikola Jokic some. He's one of their guys to guard him. Batum, Zoo, obviously, but also Ben.
What are you looking for as far as Ben's offense in a series like this?
Just be aggressive. Look at the basket. The teams are planning for the pass, and we know he can score the basketball around the rim. So just be aggressive, looking at the basket, and that's going to open up your passing because it's instinctive, and he has great.
Did I just hear? Did I just hear "Put it up, Ben" from Coach Lue? I think I may have just heard that from him. I think I may have.
Get out there, Ben, and put that shit up, dog. Put it up, Ben.
In so many words.
Well, get to the next action, try to move Joker around.
Listen to this.
So
listen to this.
It's good to have 2 different versions, but actually 3 because you have 0 as well. So 3 different versions of center position.
Listen to what Coach Lue wants from Ben.
And what the game calls or needs.
What are you looking for as far as Ben's offense in a series like this?
Just be aggressive. Look at the basket.
Just be aggressive. Look at the basket.
Planning for the pass, and we know he can score the basketball around the rim. So just be aggressive, looking at the basket, and that's going to open up your passing because it's instinctive, and he has great instincts passing the basketball. So just being aggressive, looking at the rim, attacking the basket. Then teams may collapse. Then you can make the pass and make the play.
That was something Bob Myers.
Wow, Coach Lue. That's what I heard there. Be aggressive. Teams are playing the pass with you. If you're aggressive looking for your own shot some, you'll get even better passes.
The basket, then teams may collapse. Then you can make the pass and make the play.
That was something Bob Myers. That was something Bob Myers noted in the broadcast from the game the other day. That Ben obviously is aggressive and not looking to score as much. And I think defenses kind of know that.
Yeah.
Do you have to remind him to be aggressive to look to score and keep the defenses even?
Yeah, we did. We talked about it the last couple of days, and today he was aggressive. Attacking the basket, playing with pace, getting to the rim, making the plays, getting finishing at the rim, and so we need him to be aggressive. The pace is great, but also look at the rim to be, a scoring threat.
Oh, they're telling him. They're telling him, put it up, man.
Put that shit up, man. Put it up.
The message was said. Will it be received? I love hearing that. Now we're going to hear from Norman Powell.
Thanks, Coach. The media's here. So you in the camera too? Or you want to be on the side?
That's my camera right there. I'm not in the frame, so.
Hey, man, get some room, man.
Is this good, Narc?
Yeah, here we go. You know what I'm saying? It's a comfort.
We heard you guys going for the last hour on court today at practice. What was that like, and what was kind of the focal point of what you guys were doing?
I was good.
God, thanks again, Hoop Chef and Hoop Jab on YouTube, bringing us this practice audio. I needed this today. I'm so thankful we got this in a timely fashion as well, because they practice at 11. So I'm not staying here for 3 hours. Only a 2-hour show today, not a 3-hour show, waiting for the practice audio.
For the last hour on court today at practice, what was that like, and what was kind of the focal point of what you guys were doing?
I was good, just getting up and down, execute some things that we want to work on, and change some of the offense and defensive schemes. But just getting the cardio, getting our bodies moving. We got 2 days off, so just trying to get our bodies back going, and our cardio right. But it was good competition, good talk, good level of focus.
How much did you guys?
Norm, all business. I like him in interviews. Straight to the point, straight to the answers, and just doesn't beat around the bush at all.
My body's back going, and our cardio right. But it was good competition, good talk, good level of focus.
Good competition, he said, because they scrimmaged today at practice. I love that.
You guys do the rest of this week kind of before you guys to get ready for this weekend, rather than having to play extra games to get there?
I mean, it's big time. Anytime you can rest your body, get some time to, get to as close to 100% as possible going into the postseason is big. Just not having to worry about the play-in is huge. So we definitely appreciated the extra time off, and it gives us even more time to prepare. Not having to prepare for another opponent and then prepare for somebody after possibly. Just have that time to prepare for one opponent and execute and do the things that we want to focus on, ready for the first round. So it's big time.
Kawhi mentioned that how much he still loves this game. Have you seen him playing with more joy this season than maybe past because of he's healthy now?
I think he's always had that joy. I think anytime he's had an interview or talked about it, he's always talking about having fun with the game, having fun with basketball. It's a fun game for him. I haven't seen any change from this year compared to last year or back in Toronto. He's always loved the game of basketball. And you can just tell when he's able to play and be healthy and play the game he loves and the love that he knows he can play at.
You mentioned the preparation for Denver. What has particularly stood out to you as you guys have gone through preparing for this matchup?
Ooh, good question, Joey Lynn. Let's go.
Just being really focused on the defensive side of the ball, honestly. That's where we're going to hang our hats. Offensively, we have the guys to be able to score the basketball and do what we want, but defensively is going to be the biggest thing, being focused in on their guys, on Jokic. He's the head of the snake with Murray. But it's a unit that they play. That first unit is really good. And the guys that have coming off the bench, the energy that they bring. So just being really tied in and locked in on the defensive side of the ball, whoever's on the floor.
So they're kind of like offense will take care of itself. Maybe part of that is because Denver doesn't have a great defense, but they have a great offense. So we got to focus in more on the defensive side.
Christian Brown has led the NBA in fast break points this year. Kind of, how big of a key is it for you guys to? I know going into every game is like just don't let them get out in transition.
Mm-hmm.
But how big is it to just kind of stop him from getting easy baskets to where he gets going, and then you guys, kind of get stretched?
Very important. JBG's made multiple points watching film and even in practice and on defensive drills. Getting back in transition, getting matched up. Nobody having a matchup, really communicating and talking, so nobody is lost. They're a team that likes to throw the ball ahead. Jokic is very unselfish with the pitch aheads and finding his teammates in stride. So it's going to be all five talking and communicating, transitioning from offense to defense. It's not just going to be one man focused on Christian. It's going to be all five. Getting back in transition and getting our defensive set.
It feels like part of the reason I could see James Harden not guarding Christian Brown, because we've talked about Christian Brown will likely be on James. But if James is missing a step back, falls to the floor, and even if he doesn't, when he takes that shot, I fully believe with Christian Brown on him, he's going to take off. And they're going to look for those long outlet passes. I wonder if they have Norman Powell on him to also track him in transition. For Norman Powell to be Christian Brown's primary defender then, so he's always following him, and therefore he has less of a chance of getting these easy fast break buckets. Maybe they'll have James on Michael Porter Jr. instead.
Like a lot of people, when they talk about Jokic, they simplify it as make him a scorer, don't make him a facilitator, or vice versa. Is that too simple? Is that too simplified? And is one thing that he does more hurtful than the other? Like, does his scoring hurt you more? Does his playmaking hurt you more?
I think anything you say, you can simplify it, but it's not as easy as whatever you're trying to describe. Look at the numbers and.
That is well put. That is a quote right there. That's a bar from Norm here.
Is one thing that he does more hurtful than the other? Like, does his scoring hurt you more? Does his playmaking hurt you more?
I think anything you say, you can simplify it, but it's not as easy as whatever you're trying to describe. Look at the numbers and what they're at on their output when he's assisting and not assisting. So you're doing that analytics game with Jokic does have the ball, but he's one of the best players in the world. And unselfish player. He's not only looking for his shot, he's looking for his teammates, and he's finding his teammates when defenses are breaking down and not communicating on switches and things like that. And that's where they're deadly. Getting easy paint assists on their cuts and playing off of him. So that's the focal point. Just being tied together and locked in and physical and not giving them easy baskets where he's able to do both score and pick us apart with his passing. You're trying to limit one thing. You're always trying to take away the best player's best attributes and to make it difficult for him. And that's what teams are trying to do, and that's what we're trying to do.
So you played 3 times in Denver this season, 2-part. Like, what's the key to adjusting to games early there, and especially with your fourth quarter performances this year, like what's the key to being able to have enough in the tank to finish the games the way you need to finish?
It's a mental thing, I think being able to get our cardio and stuff right, our body's ready for the altitude, and being able to get past to our second wind is huge. I think everybody talks about that whenever you're going to Denver, even in the regular season. I think it's going to be a mental thing. They play really well at home. Not getting discouraged when you're playing good defense and they make tough shots and things like that. Just sticking with it, staying composed, no matter what, throughout the course of 48 minutes, man. It's a series, and every game's going to be different. We've been in games where you blow a team out by 20, then the next game you lose by 10. You know, it's not one game's not going to determine the whole series. You know, it's just about us being focused and tied together, going into an environment like Denver and pulling for each other and everybody pulling the rope in the same direction.
Can you talk a little bit about that mental preparation? Because obviously going to playoffs, the pressure is at a higher stake. So what do you do to get into that zone?
Just
Good question. Mental prep for the playoffs.
Having fun with it throughout the course of it. You know, not getting too wrapped up or tense. You know, at the end of the day, it's a playoff. Yes, it's a lot on the line, but it's basketball. You know, we do this our whole lives. We've done this all season. It's not a situation that I've been unfamiliar with. It's not the first time playing Denver in the playoffs. So just sticking to what I know, cleaning up some things that I need to work on, and watching the games that I've played against them and how they've covered me and my different reads and stuff, offensively and defensively, and just going out there and staying in the moment, but enjoying it. You know, when you have fun and you're enjoying it, you're not really thinking about the pressure, you're just thinking about what you got to do to win.
Norm has been a little bit up and down in the playoffs. And I think partially it's because, don't get me wrong, he's been up. He's had a 43-point game for the Clippers in Game 3 against Phoenix a couple of years ago when they didn't have Kawhi or Paul George, and he completely stepped up. With Norm, I think he's his own worst critic sometimes to a fault, where he's such a perfectionist out there. You listen to him after that game against Golden State, and James Harden had to tell him, you know, calm down, it's all good, because Norm was kicking his own ass for not playing well enough earlier in the game. And then he righted the ship and had 2 huge buckets in the fourth quarter. But Norm is one of those guys where he wants to make every shot so bad. And you got to give yourself a break. And yes, like he said there, have fun with it too. This is what you do. It's basketball. And I think that'll bring out the best in him in this series if he's able to do that. And I have a ton of faith in Norm, especially because I told you guys in fourth quarters the last 2 seasons, he's shooting just under 50% from 3. He has been extremely clutch for this Clippers team. Just check out the fourth quarter against Denver, their first meeting this season. I think it was game 2 for them this year when he just lit them up. Like when Norm is playing loose and he's in a groove, ooh, he is incendiary.
Do you think that there's anything that you feel differently coming into this playoff than other seasons?
No, not really. Just that I'm older. I wish I was 4 years younger. No, not really. I mean, it's good to fully be healthy again. I think that's a big.
Well, that's good to hear. It's good to fully be healthy again.
No, not really. I mean, it's good to fully be healthy again. I think that's the biggest thing, finally getting into the postseason and then being fully healthy, top to bottom, and going out there and being able to execute with a full squad. I think that's the biggest difference.
So when you look at this team, obviously you have a lot of elite players who can get buckets in isolation. But when you play, you also play very, team ball a lot. It's not like you're in my team very often. So, in a playoff series, how do both ways kind of help you most?
It's big time because out of isolation, it's not always about them just getting a shot. You know, isolating a matchup that we want, forces the team to have to adjust and be in rotations. And now you're isolating the defender that you want. Now they're rotating, firing, blitzing, double teaming, and now the ball's moving and they're scrambling after the guarding closeouts. So it's not always about ISO and getting that person a bucket. It's about hunting a matchup and then getting their defense to adjust to that, and then attacking them on the second side of the court. That's the biggest thing with isolation, So you got guys that can score in isolation, but that also creates for other guys on the other side.
Love that from Norm. Yeah, the double comes because you have the matchup you want, and they don't want to give it up, so they double and help or shade over or stunt and recover and find the open man. Move the ball, get them in rotation. You don't always have to force anything in isolation just because you got the matchup. If they want to take that away and bring a guy over to double because you got too good of a matchup, if it's, Kawhi with Jamal Murray on him, they're going to come over and help. So then Kawhi can find the open man. Norm, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. You're going to miss some shots. You can't be perfect out there. Love Norm Powell. Love you all for participating in this episode and being here. We had Dime Dropper on to start. and we've reviewed a lot of the practice audio. And, of course, the big news is Nico Batum fully participated in practice today. Kind of a big deal.
Woo!
I expect him to be ready to go for Saturday, even if he's a little bit sore tomorrow with the groin. But they scrimmaged. It's not just any practice. I mean, they scrimmaged today. It was competitive, and he participated. All systems go. Man, it's good to have a healthy Clippers team heading into a playoff series. Unless you're a Denver Nuggets fan. I'm Adam Oslin. We'll be back tomorrow. Hoping to have somebody on from the Denver side to get their perspective on this. Excited about that. Another special guest on Friday. You know we got you covered here. Only did 2 hours today. I know. I'm sorry. I went from 5 hours on a show on Sunday to 3 hours yesterday to now just 2 hours. Like, I'm just getting lazy on you. But this has been 194 days straight of Clippers Talk. I'm Adam Oslin. Please subscribe. Hit the like button. It does really help. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Off the air.